Thunderbirds are go.
Give me a second.
Also, my Repulsor and Redemptor are finished, but my Redemptor needs 2 magnets gluing on the front. Then he's done. Also, I finished Series 3 of Gotham.
Alright.
Wasn't that fussed on the ending, like, it was a bit, yeah.
Are we ready, folks? Are we ready?
Vanda says you need a pre-stream music background. I always have one playing film.
Alright, calm down. Calm down. Harry, calm down.
Calm down, calm down.
Calm down, calm down. Calm down.
You sound like Mikey.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
People are going to tune in and think, what the hell is
Calm
this?
down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Alright then, we should go live. Are people ready? Ready for something big to happen. Well. It's another day, another stream. Am I right, Harry? Hey, Harry. Hey, Harry. Speak to the audience, Harry. They can see your head. I mean, there's this big sort of circle from Skype that's just spinning around on your head, and that's just it's just really funny, actually.
The reason the camera is where it is because if somebody joins the stream that shouldn't, they can't see what I'm in.
Yeah, Harry is not so hairy. Well.
Well, I am hairy, just not on my head.
No, there's like a gigolo website which is called Hairy Harry.
Wow.
It's on Mrs. Brown's Boys, so that was a good Mrs. Brown's Boy reference. However, War Vision Gaming, if you start taking the mick out of my librarian, you will be killed.
It's probably brutal, Phil.
Yeah, I will finish you off. But today we're going to be talking about, as you can see on the agenda there, we're going to be talking about the Eldar Codex. We've had a battle report already up. There is a whole different sort of segments of deciding which Eldar craft world is actually the best. And I actually think this is one of the codexes which is really hard to tell which one's the best. But we'll get onto that when it comes to it. We've had some
They're all good. They're all good. I expected more than 5, though.
Yeah. We've got some Tyranid leaks, along with some actual Tyranid stuff coming from community page just now. Then we're going to talk about surprise hidden gem armies, such as, which is armies in the indexes that aren't really good, but there's a list that's made them really good. For example, with the Tau forces, with the demons, as apparently the Manurgle demon list the other day was pretty good. So we're going to talk about some hidden gems that lies in there. We're also going to talk about Necromonday. Now the game's coming out. There's going to be Necromonday bases coming out, 32 mil and 25 mil, and there's going to be Necromonday scenery coming out. Some really new pieces and some sort of old pieces redone. Then we're going to talk about some of the other new terrain, is big new terrain bundles that are coming out as well. Then we're going to talk about narrative missions, our future narrative missions, some of the narrative missions we've done, whether you like them, and even we're going to talk about the graphics that you see at the beginning of them as well. And then for our last topic, we're going to talk about where the hell is AOS right now. We've had Shadespire, we've had Firestorm, but we haven't actually had AOS, Age of Sigmar. We've had Shadespire, we've had Firestorm, but we actually haven't had like new Age of Sigmar models or like new rules other than the release of the General's Handbook. It's been literally all 40k for a long while now. So we've got all that to talk about.
I have a couple of things to go over before we do start though. So as per usual, massive thank you to the current Patreons. Your support is greatly appreciated. We did manage to get the smoke machine fill.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody that helped provide funds for that. We actually got a couple of donations through PayPal as well. So I hope it looks good in the battle reports. I think there's 2 up where it's being used. There's 1 more to go that I've already filmed. So that's going to be good. So if you do have, I think that the lowest option on Patreon is $1 a month. It's like 75 pence. So anything you can do to support us is greatly appreciated, and we will put it straight back into the channel. The next thing that we're going to get is something that Phil's going to talk about later, though. Yeah.
So just another thing, we've got a Raven Guard versus Tzeentch Demons coming up. And that actually, Harry doesn't know about it, but actually experiments with a little bit of lighting, and is very hefty on the story as well. So it's pretty good. We've got a little bit, it all takes place inside of the Eye of Terror, which should be pretty interesting, you guys. It's all about the Common Crow, which people who are fans of Raven Guard will know what that is. And you'll see some pretty interesting stuff. It was a really, really good game, and is it our last one with Tony?
No, because I filmed straight after using my Tau, so it's kind of a follow-on mission from yours. But I had no idea what happened in yours.
It was pretty good.
Who knows?
Basically, there's like a Blood Angel dude in the story, but there's a lot of like story bits where it's like every name, every planet. It all happened, and we basically made a story about Tzeentch basically laying a trap, and Raven Guard springing that trap, but actually trapped them, and then the Tzeentch made them think they trapped them, and then they trapped them. It was pretty interesting, but it was pretty funny because actually, just wait and see it, because there's some pretty good moments in it, pretty funny moments, and we spent ages filming that one actually, but it was really good, really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait to play as Raven Guard again.
Just to give people an idea as well, Tony was up before I went to No Retreat, so obviously that was quite a while ago. I've only actually filmed 2 games since I got back from Gibraltar, and one was the Eldar vs. Nurgle with Phil, and the other one was the Death Guard one the other night with Sharpie for the Halloween special. So that gives you an idea as to how far ahead we generally are with filming compared to when you see them. It's about 4 or 5 week lead time at the moment. Well,
we might as well start on our agenda for this evening. So we've got the Eldar Codex. Now, of course, we basically watched all the YouTube videos that were out for the Eldar Codex and basically amended the index to fit around it, so that we could get a video out as soon as possible and try some of the stuff that's in the Eldar. Something pretty interesting, the FAQ for Astronautic term actually almost applies to Eldar, where if the vehicle doesn't move, the Lehman Russ, it still gets its grinding advanced double shoot. I'm hoping that happens for the Fire Prism, so that
because if you watch the battle, how many times did I miss rolling threes?
Yeah, because
fire twice.
Yeah, because he had to move to get the fire twice, so it'll be quite nice to see that. But on top of that, I think it'd be pretty interesting to see some of the Eldar FAQs coming. Someone put a picture up on Facebook at some point today showing a picture on the Eldar Codex, which has a Warlock on their Skyrunner, but with a scatter laser, and you can't actually do that. So I don't know whether it's just a miss something on the actual, people creating the pictures and the content going inside it, or whether that was just missed in the rules. So that should be pretty interesting. If they get it, that's a kind of a big boost to the Eldar. I wouldn't say it's like a huge boost, but I mean at least their Farseer and that has like a powerful weapon that they can use other than just their catapults. Like because currently they're not really shooting, so if they get that weapon in an FAQ,
shoot catapult and singing spear.
Yeah, but I'm saying like at a longer distance.
Yeah,
because like they're not really going to be going right up close.
Close.
Yeah, so like giving them a scatter laser, for example, is probably pretty good for them. So I mean, if we see that, that should be pretty cool. A lot of people talking here.
You've got a question up though. Which one is the best craft one? I don't think there is a best one. I think they're all very good depending on how you build your army.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Basically, a tail lock becomes really good if the long range shooting because of the minuses. Samhain comes really good if you go a close combat focused army, or even a vehicle and bike army, for example. And they become really good. Close combat army because everything gets to reroll their charges, so I can totally see like Strike and Scorpion, Banshee armies taking Samhain rules, which would be pretty interesting.
Shining
Spears as well, pretty good. Especially since they can move and then their weapons are not minuses or anything like that, and so it's really good for them. I can see Iandan being actually, in my opinion, the worst. Although morale, I could see like giant blobs of Guardians now, and them not worrying about morale one bit. That would be pretty interesting to see from them. But when they're Wraith, it's sort of, even if one runs, that's devastating for them. And something that really gets to me as the Be'lakor is they must, when a model flees, I think his is one more flees with them, but it says they can only ever lose one dude. So do they lose two, or is it still only one? I'm a bit unsure on that. But, I guess it will be one, but I don't know. I don't know how that one would work. But the other stuff in the Eldar Codex I find pretty interesting is Dark Reapers got cheaper, and their rules stayed
the guns got cheaper, not the Dark Reapers.
Yeah, but in a whole, they still got cheaper though.
They did.
So I can definitely admit to saying they're the new Warp Spiders. They're going to get spammed. And a lot of those powerful armies in the future, especially I'm thinking, the is it Spirit Seers? Is it the Forge World aspect?
Oh, Shadow Spectres.
Shadow Spectres. So I don't know whether they've got they've got the Craft World keyword, right?
I think so.
So, and I don't, are the weapons heavy?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna just pull up their rules pretty quickly.
Basically, I think where Phil's going with this is they are -1 to hit naturally. If you have a Warlock next to them and cast Conceal, that's a further -1. And if you run a Layer Top, that's a further -1. That's -3 to hit, which means your Tau, your Guard, they ain't hitting. A lot of nids won't hit.
Yeah, so that's essentially where I was going. But a little bit of, they do have the Craft World
keyword.
Yep. Yeah, so that's called the Spectre Holyfield. But I'm looking at their weapons. So they've got a Haywire Launcher, which is heavy. So really you could see the heavy Haywire Launchers in the likes of Samhain.
Vander's Shadow Spectres don't have Craft World given.
They do. I'm literally looking at the rules. We'll just have that little triangle, Craft World triangle. That's what I'm looking at right now. I don't know whether that's the right one or not, but I'm looking at it right now. I don't know whether it's an updated one. But yeah, but I'm looking at it right now, Shadow Spectres. The Haywire Launcher is heavy D3, strength 4 -1, but any 4 wound roll against a vehicle is a mortal wound, any 6 is a D3 mortal wound.
Instead of 1. Shadow Spectres, you know?
Yeah. So Haywire Launchers, Prism Blasters, or Prism Rifles.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then Sunburst Grenades. So they've got different ones, but the only way I mentioned the Haywire Launcher, it's heavy. So the heavy Haywire Launcher ones might be useful in Samhain. But I think when you were mentioning about a tail lock with giving them the
conceal.
Yeah. But the only problem is the Prism Blasters is 12-inch range, which means they're probably going to lose that tail lock buff. And then the actual Prism Rifle has an 8-inch flamer or an 18-inch range. So I don't think, if it's Haywire Launchers for a tail lock, maybe, because then they don't really have to move. It's 24 inches. It's not a terrible range. But I can see them being used in Samhain. Ayanda no Ulthway probably do pretty well, giving them a 6-up feel no pain. Probably last with that. What's the other one? Oh, Build Time. Build Time basically has no effect on them, other than make them leadership 9. But their weapons alone makes them so valuable. I can see them. I can see Banshees because of the note of Overwatch on Banshees, and then I can see. They normally have a -2 to hit on a tail lock. Yeah, but I mean not a specific rifle. All right, okay, yeah, you can choose. Best model on another force for upgrades. Race here for upgrades.
Yeah, there's a trait that allows you to allow someone to target the enemy.
Oh, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Bailey Eldar is quite nice. I would like to see bike forces and whether they're still viable. I think they are, but it'd be nice to see them. It'd be nice to see some Hornet action, some Viper action. It'll be nice to see some different stuff now, like Night Spinners. You never really got to see Vipers. Warwalkers you never got to really see. The Vol's Wrath support batteries, which I think Harry's
made. Opinion, you will see them.
Yeah, Harry's predicting that they'll be pretty good because they're so cheap. Mark of Incomparable Hunter Command trait allow the Warlord to target characters even if they are not the closest model. That's pretty good.
Take the Wraithseer, give him the D cannon, and have him target.
Yeah. That also makes me think that the Warpunter might be quite useful in a Samhain army as well. But it'll be pretty.
It's only jet bikes that go and suffer the -1 penalty, you know.
Is it only jet bikes? I thought it was the whole army.
No.
You sure?
Pretty sure. You'll have to ask.
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up because it's on Warhammer Community, though, isn't it? It's on Warhammer Community, so.
Can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure it's only bikes.
Because then that means a difference for like Warwalkers because they'll not have the -1.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's the whole army. I think it's literally just the bikes, which sucks because then it's only scatter lasers. So it's like why?
You can reroll field charge rolls for units with this attribute. In addition, biker units with this attribute do not suffer the penalty. They hit rolls for moving and firing heavy weapons. Yeah, so it's just bikes.
Basically, the whole army gets reroll charge. So, like you said, you can go combat heavy. Shining Spear is an absolute boss for that. And then if you want, but Vipers now have the jet bike keyword. So you can stick a heavy weapon on your Viper and it doesn't suffer the penalty. That's the way you want to go if you go in Samhain.
I do think Ianda and Relic and stuff like that make the combat Wraith very viable. With the point decrease on the sword on the Wraith Knight, can make a combat Wraith Knight quite viable on top of that. I think a Wraith Knight is very, very good for its points. A lot of Eldar people are saying, no, that's wrong, Phil. But
it's just not as broken as it used to be.
It's like, you need to put in perspective. It's not going to be what it was because it was too overpowered before. It's going to be on the same level as a Knight. It doesn't necessarily have the same firepower in comparison to its combat ability at the same time as a Knight. But, 2 star cannons on its shoulders. Give it the sword, give it the shield. Then it's a monster in combat. It's got some shooting as well. And it's going to act like a close combat Knight. You could go the shooting route and then have it go against cleaning up little units with its titanic feet, which totally with what you would do with a knight if you're going up against little units. So, in my opinion, I don't see why people are saying, "Oh, it's too expensive. It's too expensive." And I mean, I can agree to a certain point to say, a knight's really expensive to put in an army. I'd rather take all the units I could get for a knight than take a knight, because I can take stuff way cheaper than a knight, like for 3 Hive Guard, for example, or even.
Remember when we did that battle report, 3 knights versus your knights?
Yeah, I would love to do it again. Pretty sure I would win in the next one, because now I'm using like my shock cannon Hive Guard and all that. I'm pretty sure I've learnt my lesson, and we'll get onto it. But the Swarm Lord got buffed a lot. The Swarm Lord got buffed.
I haven't seen this then. Right, let's move on to Tyranids.
A lot, but I do think the Wraith Knight's got a place, but units that are cheaper can do more than the Wraith Knight, and it's the same for a normal knight. So whatever. I do think Wraith Lords are in a good position right now as well. I think they're in a really good position. But yeah, I do like the Eldar Codex. I do think it's got potential to be quite powerful. But we just need to find those combos. I think that's the only problem. We don't know the combos yet.
It's one of them things where it's not a pick up, point the gun, and kill stuff like what it used to be. But if you use your army effectively, I think it'll be quite good.
Yeah, for example, with the Ultramarines, it's like you're always going to take Gorman because it just makes the whole army better. And you need to choose your right weapons and your right tools to make them really viable.
With Ultramarines, you can just take them, point them, and shoot.
Yeah, you can almost do that, but you need to be just a little bit more thinking of taking what you want, because you want that good firepower for his bubble. But I think it's really more of there's no straight shot. So like with the Ultramarines, just go and you go, all right, I'll need short cannon Razorbacks, I need my Storm Ravens, I need some las cannons in there, and that's good. I can just do that straight away. With Eldar, I don't think it's like, all right, I need these bikes, I need these aspects, I need this. The way I'm looking at like Shadow Spectres, the Dark Reapers, the Fire Prisms, Guardians, and I think it's more the fact that all of it's quite viable, rather than, you want these Razorbacks, they're really viable in comparison to other stuff. You want this is really viable in comparison to other stuff. So I think that's pretty cool that you're more spoiled for choice with the Eldar. But I think you need to find those synergies, and some of the synergies come from the Psychers, from Artarks, I can't say it right there. Autarks, there we go, with the reroll ones, which could be pretty good. Add in bonus of the Bone Singer, D3 wounds back, plus the stratagem that gives you Wraith Construct D3 wounds back. Suddenly gets 2d3 plus 1 wounds revived. Yeah, that's a perfect example. I do think the Bone Singer is quite good. A 70-point Psyker, but if he heals, he doesn't get the Psychic power. He doesn't get a caster Psychic power. But he just like another denial Psyker on the board, and he can heal your vehicles or Wraith. Now I think when looking at it, you've got enough space in a Wave Serpent to go 5 Wraith, Spirit Seer, Bone Singer. And I think that's like a good little combo there to put into a not Wraith, what's it called? A Wave Serpent, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a good little combo, because you got your little bit of a heal from your Bone Singer. But if your Bone Singer you can't bring a model back to the unit. But say if you don't have wounds to heal, the Bone Singer's quite close there to do a smite. Your Spirit Seer's there to give them the reroll. And if not, he's got other psychic powers there. I mean, I don't know what psychic powers the Bone Singer can learn. Nothing, yeah. So he's already got a smite if he doesn't want to heal, which is not bad. Either you lose D3 wounds, possibly D6, or I'm going to heal D3 wounds in my Wraith, which I think is a good combo. So I think Bone Singer's got a place, got a really nice place in the army. And I think he's not just going to be Wraith, which is quite interesting. I could see...
I've got one!
I've got one too, and I don't play Eldar.
Anyway, I think that's enough Eldar. We've talked about Eldar.
Enough Eldar.
Let's move on to your fame and glory army, Bell. The power of the Hive Mind. Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. First thing I'm going to talk about is what I'm actually doing for my Tyranid so far. Is I'm actually...
wait. Sorry. Right, I was just watching the... You know how there's a delay on the actual live stream bit?
Yeah.
When you were doing that crazy thing, right, you look like the newer guy.
But, yeah, I'm currently... I'm switching all the bases. Because I've designed this Slanesh army. That's my next demon army that I'm working on. But they're all on 32 mils. Because I thought they were going to change them, but they've kept them on 25. So now I've got to switch them back. But what I thought was the new Pure Strain Gene Stealers in the Overkill box were on 32 mils. And my 25 mil Gene Stealers look a bit big for the bases. So I'm going to switch all my Gene Stealers to 32 mils. And then I'm going to get them painted up ready for this new edition. Now, there is some stuff that's been leaked about some of the Gene Stealers, which we'll get to. But I think there's some pretty interesting stuff with Tyranids and spawning in this new edition, which I hope is true, but we don't know as of right now. But I hope it's true. But some of the big changes which have been officially announced is change to Shadow in the Warp, Synapse, and Instinctive Behavior. Now, we in the comments, I know people have been, talking about stuff about that. So basically, I play Nidzilla, so this went really well for me. It's 12-inch Synapse range for Fearless. And then it is 24 inches to stop Instinctive Behavior, which is pretty cool. Harry, are you still there?
Yep.
Yeah, just your camera's frozen, that's all, my friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically, if you're not within those 24 inches, you go to your Instinctive Behavior. If you're within 12 inches, you've got, you've got Fearless. Now, this is really good for Nidzilla because it means you don't need that much Synapse.
Because you don't need any, technically. If you're going for the closest unit, you don't really need it.
Yeah, I don't like... I don't like it, but I understand why it's there, but we'll get to that. So basically, 24-inch bubble on all psychics. It's not 8 inches anymore. It's 24 inches. It was 12 inches for the high tyrants and swarm lord, but now it's just, big bubble, which is pretty cool. But then with gaunt units and stuff like that, it's pretty interesting to see. But there's been an increased range from Shadow in the Warp. So Shadow in the Warp went from 8 inches or 12 inches, depending on how tyrant, I think, or anything like that, to just a straight 18 inches. And if you're within any Shadow in the Warps, you're -1 to your Psychic test. I'm just going to quickly check to see if that's cumulative.
No, it won't be.
I don't think it would be.
The way they've been worded,
yeah, I think it's
unlocking it down.
Yeah, I think it'll be worded in a way like if it's affected by it. Enemy Psychics must subtract 1 from any Psychic tests they make if they were in 18 inches of any units with this ability.
Yeah, so it doesn't start.
Yeah, Tyranid Psychers are not affected. Yeah, so it's just -1 if you're within them. Now, here's something that's been leaked, Harry, which you're probably going to get your first hand on this. Neurothropes are now a separate unit, and they're HQ choice.
Oh!
And their healing thing, so if they kill someone with their smite, they heal a Zoanthrope unit within 6 inches for 1 wound. So not D3, but 1 wound. But the fact that they're HQ means we're going to get like a 50-point, something like that, HQ choice, or 40-point HQ choice, which is a Zoanthrope.
I'm gonna see a massive influx. There's going to be Neurothropes and Malanthropes everywhere.
Yeah. The thing is, if that's true, if it is a HQ choice, that's a 40-point smite. That if you kill something, it heals itself 1 wound. That's pretty dangerous because I think the Spirity is 45 and the Warlocks are, I think, 35, but they only do 1 mortal wound.
Yeah. So
this is a bit holy crap. But there's been in the White Dwarf when reading some of the little writing that they've got, the Broodlords have got new upgrades such as Acid Maws and Flesh Hooks, which is what they said. So we're going to see Broodlords get various different upgrades so you can basically customize your Broodlord. Oh, wow, I don't know what happened there. Voice crack. But basically you can get a Broodlord is supposed to do almost did the same damage as a Hive Tyrant when I have my Massive Rending Claws. So I might actually use more Broodlords coming in the future because I want more Synapse. I don't like the sound of -1 a hit if I'm not shooting out the closest unit.
Van Ness says I'll let you know there's more HQs, but I won't say where you're going to like the New England genome attributes.
Yeah, so that's what I'll talk about. I don't know whether the genome attributes what I'm thinking of, but you're going to go nuts even the Neurothug DNA specialization. Yeah, so there's some pretty crazy stuff going on. I do know the Maliceptor got a buff, so he used to be a big bubble for his psychic. I don't think it was that big, but it was like on a 6 they suffer a mortal wound, or whether it was like a 2-up they suffer a mortal wound, and it's how many units? Like 3.
I would love a Maliceptor because he had no love at all. Believe it or not, right, despite me having quite a large knit army, I don't own a Maliceptor, a Horospex, or a Bollock. I'm
going to grab a Maliceptor, mainly because I want one now. I had one, but then I converted it back to my Toxicrines. I had 2 Toxicrines because they were just better in the last edition. But basically, he's got his 5-up invul. He's now toughness 7. He's got 12 wounds. And this Psychic Power is on a 2-up. It does 1 mortal wound to 3 units if you had full wounds. I think it's 3 or 6, something like that. But now if you roll a 6, it's 3 mortal wounds. And you can do that however many times in your damage table to these units within 12 inches. So if that's right, that's pretty cool. It'll make him a little bit helpful. But now that I'm looking at, I want some Synapse. I want more Synapse in my army. I might get him. And since he's got that invul, it's pretty cool. But now the Swarm Lord and the High Tyrant apparently have a straight up 4-up invul.
Right.
So basically, and when the Swarm Lord's in combat, his 4-up invul goes to a 3-up invul, which is pretty cool. And then, do you know how most people wants to deep strike their Swarm Lord with the Bollock? The Bollocks actually went down about 50 points.
Wow.
So he basically got a bit cheaper there, which is pretty crazy, if I don't say so myself. Apparently it's like 100 points for the Tyrannocyte, and then it's 5 points per gun if you choose some of the bigger guns. I just go with Death Spitters because I don't want to spend so many points. But it's pretty crazy. But then you look at some of the new Psychic Powers. Paroxysm is apparently one of them. I'm just going to pull it up here. Hold on a sec, guys. But yeah, I'm getting really excited. But I think Paroxysm's a semi-little bit from before, but I think they're at... where is it here?
Whilst you're looking for that, I'm actually going on the Royal Mail website now because I need a customs charge. Oh, really, Harry? Why is that? That's because I ordered something from America and totally forgot about customs charges, so it's probably cost me a little bit more than what I wanted to pay for some housing.
What was that, Harry? Right,
that was... So yeah, I bought some Tauterian from Horizon Creation 3D. Don't know who they are. You've probably seen the two of the Capillary Towers all over Facebook, all over eBay, all over everywhere. I bought the big giant Tau thing. Kurt's had a 30% off sale. So yeah, he got one knocked up straight away for us and sent it down. I'm going to do a review of that when it turns up. I wanted to do so many videos tonight, Phil.
Why?
Well, because I still need to do my GameMat.eu review for the new mat and the terrain, which looks fantastic. I'm sure you'll agree. Oh, you haven't watched the battle report yet, have you?
Sorry, what? I'm looking for something right now. I'm just getting a bit lost.
You haven't watched the Halloween special battle report?
No, I haven't.
And the new battle mat. I need to do the next in the Dark Art series, the next Tactica. And I was supposed to do White Dwarf, but my subscription hasn't turned up. It normally turns up on a Monday, but it hasn't turned up. Yeah,
I'll be probably doing some Tactica series to put up as well. Especially with the new Tyranid decks coming out, I'll be pumping out tactics, like pumping out. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that analogy, to be honest. I've seen a lost my post that I was looking at. I'm annoyed.
So anyway, yeah, the man wants me to pay $19.95 just to get access to my parcel. Because he's lovely like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the model I'm currently painting accidentally broke, Phil.
Did you really?
I honestly, I swear to God, it actually broke. I need to glue it.
What happened? Like, what? Is it like a leg? Is it like a...
No, it's the top of a stack.
Oh, right, okay. Wow. It's pretty flimsy.
What I'm also a little bit worried about is the fact that the feet don't go where they're supposed to. It's about half a centimetre out. So I think one of the trees might not be glued in place properly. Vandus might like to see this if he's actually come back. Vandus, are you back yet? No, he's not. I also dropped a hint as to what it was in the last battle because I know fine well that Lucy's not going to be watching it. It's Lucy's birthday on Sunday, so we're having a few friends around to come and play it.
I found it. I found what I was talking about.
Well, I'm talking, so shut up.
All right.
So we're having a few friends around to come and play some board game stuff. We're going to hopefully play Zombicide, Cards Against Humanity, Catch the Moon, Ninja All Stars, and possibly Phil Shit.
When's this?
Friday. You're coming.
I am? You never told me about it.
Well, yeah, it's Lucy's birthday, how can you forget?
You never told us I was coming over.
Yes, I did.
You didn't. This is the first time I heard about it.
We told you around 3 weeks ago.
No, you didn't. We didn't do it. You didn't tell us. You didn't tell us, Jack. That's you didn't tell me. What time on Friday?
I did. Anyway.
What time on Friday? You need to tell me now. Now I have to go and put it in my diary. She's probably watching, and now you just revealed it. That's
she wrote up me.
But anyway, the psychic powers for the Tyranids. So because if the Neurothorpe's true being a HQ, this could be pretty dangerous. So we've got Paroxysm, which is Warp Charge 5. Target an enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker, and it fights last. And it says there's a whole big block of text about what exceptions and that and whatnot. I think we don't know what it is, but I think it's going to be like if something says they always strike first, it cancels it out, or for example, if something says it must go first or anything like that, or if it charges or anything like that, it'll be pretty interesting to change it. But then we've got Psychic Scream, so that's back, Harry. It's Warp Charge 5, targets a nearest enemy unit within 18 inches and does D3 mortal wounds. If the target is a Psyker, also roll 2d6. If the value is higher than the enemy's Psychic leadership, the enemy Psyker loses 1 spell at random. So they could lose Smite. It could be Grey Knights, and they could lose Vortex of Doom. It could be some real crazy stuff. I can see that being pretty awesome on like the likes of against the Zinch army. But yeah, and then we've got another one like the dude can't remember the name, but it's target unit within 36 inches of the Psyker gains Synapse, which is pretty cool. And then there's also
gains Synapse.
It gains Synapse, yeah. So you pick
enemy character gains Synapse.
No, you target any unit, any friendly unit within 36 inches of the Psyker, and then it gains Synapse. Like I think it just says essentially gains Synapse. I don't know whether that it becomes a Synapse creature or it gets the benefits for Synapse because it's 36 inches, so that'll be outside the 24 inches. So I don't know whether anything like that. It'll be pretty interesting to see. I don't know whether it's something like
if it gains Synapse, I wonder if it acts like an anchor point, like kind of like what the Colonel Hunters do for Sylvanas.
Well, the Sporocyst, the fortification one, if that's within Synapse range of a Synapse creature, it gains Synapse. So it becomes a Synapse, and that's its rules on the index. I don't know whether that's changing or not. But Warp Blast is back. Yeah, it's back. Warp Blast is the same, except at a unit of 6, it deals D3 plus 3 instead of D3 plus D3. Yeah?
So it used to be 2.
Oh, yeah. So in the Zoanthropes, if there were 4 more in the unit, it'll be D3 or D6 if you go over the top, plus another D3. It's now D3 or D6 plus 3.
That's better because your average will be higher.
Yeah. So instead of being 2d3, or if you had 11 or more D6 plus D3, it's now just +3 and then D3 mortal wounds and D6 mortal wounds. That's pretty good.
The average roll, once you get that up, then is now 5 rather than 4.
Yeah, which is pretty good. I quite like that. But I think we've gotten to the point where I now need to start talking about all the different high fleets. I'm really looking forward to this. If these are true, it's going to be pretty interesting. So let's start off with Michael's army. Michael is an orc player on the channel. And this is the blue carapace, red skin behemoth.
We've never seen Michael's Tyranids on the channel, have we?
They were so nice last edition. They had some really nice Carnifexes. He'll be loving the Carnifex rules that's coming out. He had like 4 Carnifexes, all with Twin Devourers and Hive Tyrants and loads of zone throw-ups. He'll have a really powerful army going into the rest of Earth. But its high fleet attribute is reroll field charges. I could definitely see Behemoth being a good one for all the new Carnifex stuff that's coming out. And then
you need to read the Carnifex stuff out.
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, its Warlord trait is a to wound roll of a 6+ during the fight phase, deals 1 additional damage to the target unit.
That's not great.
That's the Warlord trait. So, example, if they took the Swarm Lord, all of his damage is, if he rolls a 6 on his to wound roll, his damage becomes D6+1. Or if it's a Brood Lord, it does that. But basically, I don't know whether there's actually a Behemoth-specific model. I think it could be the old One-Eye, but I'm unsure. And then their stratagem is called Brute Force. It's 1 command point. Used when a Behemoth unit successfully completes a charge, roll a dice for each model in the unit that ended its charge within 1 inch of an enemy unit. For each roll of a 6+, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If the charging unit was a monster, instead suffers a mortal wound on the 2+. So for Carnifex charges, it's got its own 4+, does D3 mortal wounds. But then it's got, if you do this one, it's 2+, 1 mortal wound. However, this is not going to be put there as a monster charger. You want to charge 30 Hormagaunts, and all the ones within 1 inch you roll a dice for, and on a 6 it's a mortal wound, before you start doing combat stuff. That stratagem can come into a lot of different places. It can be pretty powerful. Even if you just use it on Termagants that you don't want in combat, that can still do a lot of damage. Behemoth sounds good. Reroll field charges are going to be really helpful, especially for all those deep striking units, such as the Trigons, for example, pulling out Gene Stealer units. The Drop Pods pulling out units. I can definitely see Behemoth being used a lot. It would work quite well in my army. It'd be pretty useful in my army, but we'll see. That sounds great. I'm going to check the chat now. Oh, no, it's still the same. It's all good. Then we've got High Fleet Gorgon, Harry. Do you know the colours of High Fleet Gorgon?
Is it Michael's?
No, that was Behemoth.
No, it's Stu's. It's red with black carrots.
That I've just talked about. I'm pulling it up because I think Stu's is a little bit different. No, it's not. High Fleet Gorgon is green skin with white bone.
Okay.
That's High Fleet Gorgon.
Like Matt Wilson's?
No. Because Matt Wilson's is black skin with white bone, right? I think. No, it's like a... Do you know your head that's on your Dark Eldar vehicle?
Yeah.
It's that.
Oh, right, yeah.
My Xbox is turned on randomly there. But yeah, that's the skin of it. I'm going to check their fluff before I read their rules, because I think... So it's a Splinter Fleet of High Fleet Behemoth, so there's the first thing there. Splinter Fleet of High Fleet Behemoth. It was at the battle... it's the Tyranids who survived Behemoth's destruction on Battle Macragge, and began consuming poorly defended Imperial worlds. It was more focused in the tower space in the Eastern Fringe. It was relatively small in size, but it's characterized by an extremely rapid rate of adaptation to new weapons and tactics that was astounding even for a species renowned for its ability to direct its own evolution to meet new challenges. In response to pulse weaponry and long-range tactics of the Tau, Gorgon's primary strategy was the utilization of faster-breeding Tyranid organisms to accelerate its evolution process. As a consequence of this strategy, the larger Tyranid biomorphs were few in number within the swarms of Gorgon. So I'm thinking Gorgon needs to be something that that looks at horde, looks at survivability, and that's really what I'm looking at. So when I look here, high fleet attribute, reroll ones to hit during the fight phase. That's it. That's Gorgon.
The other one where you get reroll hits for being outnumbered.
Yeah. No, for you outnumbering.
Yeah,
that's Hydra, but we'll get to that. So, ones in the combat phase, I can totally understand that the Tyranids aren't going to win. Gorgon isn't going to win against Tau in the shooting front. So for it to be combat based, okay, that's pretty good. However, those reroll ones not going to matter to Homogons because they're already rerolling ones because they're Silent Talons. So I don't know what those reroll ones are going to be used for, other than what, Harry?
Swarmlord.
No, Swarmlord's hitting on 2s and he never reduces. I'm talking about Gene Stealers.
Oh.
3+ to hit, Broodlord nearby, 2+ to hit, reroll them once because of Gorgon.
With 5 attacks each?
Yeah. No, they're 4 attacks each. They're only 5 attacks each if they're above 10. Actually, I think they're 3 attacks each and then they get 4 attacks. I'm unsure. But their Warlord trait, at the end of the fight phase, roll a dice for each unit within 1 inches of the Warlord. It has 1 inch / 3 inches. I don't know what that means. So
no idea.
So one source said 1 inch, another source said 3 inch. So at the end of the fight phase, roll a dice for each unit within 1 / 3 inches of the Warlord. On a 4, that unit suffers a mortal wound. And then their
is Vandus actually back yet?
I don't know. The stratagem is hypertoxicity, and it's 1 command point. Used during the fight phase, choose a Gorgon unit equipped with toxin sacks. That biomorph does 1 additional damage to wound rolls, so a 5+ instead of a 6+. So toxin sacks beforehand. If you rolled a 6 to wound, your damage becomes 1 more than what it was. So I think Tip Top Tactics got this wrong in one of their videos where he just thought all damage was turned into 2 rather than 1 on his Gene Stealers. Which I'm assuming he rectified in the comment section. But now it's on a 5+ that does the 2 damage, well, 1 additional damage than on or either 6+. That's nice. It can work pretty well with the likes of the Gene Stealers, like I said again. So that's pretty cool. Apparently, Gene Stealers are getting a carapace rules because they can have extended carapace in their box. Which is what I've got on some of my Gene Stealers. Apparently getting rules for that, which will be pretty cool. But whilst we're talking about Gene Stealers, they did say something, I think there was a leak somewhere that we placed 4 of these spawning pools tokens in our deployment zone. And if you move within 9 inches of them, like an enemy moves within 9 inches, you remove them, so it's kind of like skulls. But there's different things. Yeah, there's different things in the decks that allows you to summon Gene Stealers for free from those pools. So I hope it's in this like leaked section here that you get to talk about a bit more. But if that's true, I'm so happy they've got the spawning rule type thing. I was really hoping for a sort of blood ties type situation with the Tyranids, but it doesn't look like we're getting anything like that. But it was like sort of biomass points, which was, we kill these units, or if any of our units die, we get biomass points. And we can use that to summon in units or get any effects on some of our other units, which is what I thought would happen. But it's nice that we're actually getting spawning pools. Because I thought there was this really old scenery piece, which was basically this big block of audio. What do you mean?
You sound like a robot.
I sound like a robot.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. Right, okay. Don't know what that was. Don't know what that was. Alright, but yeah. So now we've got Hydra, which is what we were talking about. Reroll all failed to hit rolls during the fight phase for units who outnumber their opponents. So this is more of a horde one. Now Hydra, they're all about cannibalism. They kill even their own to get what they want. But they are very survivable. They're very small but elite. So there could be pretty interesting stuff there. Their Warlord trait is at the beginning of your turn, roll a dice for each wound your Warlord has suffered previously in battle, and on a 6+ it regains that wound.
So you get to free regen.
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether the Swarmlord's specific to a high fleet now, but if
think it will be, because there'll be a Swarm Lord for every fleet, won't there?
I hope so. Now, if there's a Hydra Swarm Lord that's got its 3-up invul in combat, 4-up invul outside of it, with Catalyst, with Tyrant Guard nearby, and that Warlord trait, he will be one tough cookie to move. It'll be even harder than it was before. And if he's down to 3 wounds, I roll 9 dice, and every 6 he gets a win back for that Warlord trait. That's pretty good. But he's pretty powerful. That's pretty awesome. So apparently this stratagem, the source is unsure whether it's Hydra specific. But it's called Endless Swarm. It's 2 command points. Select a destroyed unit of Termagants, Hormagants, Gargoyles, or any Hydra infantry unit that has been completely destroyed. Add an identical unit to your army and set it up as reinforcements, wholly within 6 inches of a board edge and more than 9 inches from any enemy units.
Right, as reinforcements, which means it's not free.
Yeah. But it's not. So basically, I could go, I've got this giant 30-man bloated Termagants with Devourers. Oh, no. Pod, 20 Termagants with Devourers in. I'll put the more points with other Termagants. They'll pop out, they'll all die, and then I'll just spend those 2 command points to infiltrate them on one of those board edges.
It's also giving you 1 less drop, but a guarantee to bring back a unit, so it gives you that advantage to get the +1, because we all know that it's going to change.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Necromonday. Now this one I love. This is Jacob's favourite. This is the Starship Troopers High Fleet, Harry.
Lawrence's from Tabletop Tactics is very similar to this, isn't it?
Yeah. So how these work is they surround a planet. They surround it, cut it off from everything else, and then they start throwing the controls from the asteroids in the system and throwing them at the planet, whilst also bombarding them with all these different mines and spores and things like that. This was a lot like some Starship Troopers when they fired the meteor at Braceraris in the Starship Troopers film. So I'm glad they've got that sort of like relation there. But then from those spores, some of them are actually like decoys, where they would actually send Raveners and Trigons and Morlocks and bury them underground, and then they would wait dormant before when the bombardment's finished, they would rise up from the ground and start the assault from inside, which would be all the tunneling stuff to do with the Starship Troopers books. So I like that. So the High Fleet attribute is a unit with this adaptation, other than units that can fly. So, well, that seems weird. So hopefully it's something like a unit with this attribute or this rule, other than units that can fly, always has the benefits of cover for the purpose of shooting.
Gargoyles won't, Shrikes won't, Tyrants won't.
But for the purpose of shooting. It only gets it in shooting, obviously.
Yeah.
If the unit advances or charges, however, it loses the benefit of this adaptation until the start of your next movement phase. I don't like that. If that's true and it's not just it just gets benefit of cover, I don't like that, because actually no, I do like it. It does sort of turn the army into a shooting army, I guess. Or if
imagine that with a Venom Throw or a Man Throw to back that up, so you're -1 to hit and you've got +1 save.
Yeah. The only other thing though is charges. Now, if my dude's Deep Strike and they attempt to charge, do they lose it? Or if they make the charge, do they lose it?
Say out what the wording for it was again?
If the unit advances or charges, however, it loses the benefits of this adaptation until the start of the next movement phase.
Depends on the wording of charging in the main rule book.
Yeah, so we'll have to check that out. But it turns them all into a bombardment, which I'm fine with. You know, Starship Troopers books were all about giant plasma.
Biovores!
What?
Biovores!
Yeah, they were all about, you know, giant blue bottomed insects bombarding. So Necromonday is more of how my army works right now, with my 6 exocrines and biovores and stuff like that. Proper bombardment army. It's pretty cool. I wish mine were painted in Necromonday so I could use that. I did just discuss this with Jacob the other day about how I was thinking about starting a second Tyranid army. so that I can have other rules, because I don't really want to change my rules with Leviathan when all my army's painted Leviathan. But the Warlord trick for Juggermonday is enemy units do not benefit from cover against attacks made by your Warlord or friendly units within 3 inches of the Warlord. That's pretty crappy, because cover's not that great in the game. The only thing is, I know that Mechanicums suffer immensely against Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors because they get no benefit from Shroud Storm.
Yeah.
So I think that can come in really handy against them, for example. But that the cover's not a huge deal in the game anymore. I wish it was. It's very situational, but
I still think they should have always gone, if you're within range, if you're in cover, it should be a penalty to hit, not a bonus to save.
Yeah. But for example, if there's that annoying Devastator unit for me, and my Warlord is my Malanthrope, and he's within 3 inches of my Exocrines, they ignore the cover benefits that they have. So essentially, my Exocrines...
back down to a 5-up.
Yeah, basically my Exocrines, I have a -4 instead of a -3 against dudes in cover if that happens. So I really want to try out Juggermunda, whatever, rules, because I think it will very suit my army quite well. And then we've got the stratagem. The enemy below 1 command point. Use the stratagem during deployment when setting up a Juggermonday infantry unit. Instead of deploying normally, set this unit up underground. When you set up a unit of the Tunnelers, Raveners, Trigon, Prime, and Morlock, and any number of units that have been set up underground may deploy with them, so that's 1 drop, place that unit within 3 inches of the Tunneler and more than 9 inches from enemy units. So basically, I'll spend a command point to put an infantry unit with my, for example, Trigon Prime, and they appear as 1 drop, like 1 presence with my Trigon Prime. It's not a drop because it's not deployment, it's when they appear. So basically, my Trigon Prime brings 1 infantry unit, and then they can bring this other infantry unit with them. So suddenly, 1 Trigon Prime can bring 2 units of Gene Stealers. For example, 2 20-man blobs of Gene Stealers, and then I can have my pod there with my Broodlord popping down. So that's pretty good, and it's quite fluffy. It's really fluffy. It's got all the Tunneler stuff. So I really, really enjoy that and like that. It's pretty awesome. I'm trying to think of other ways that can be pretty deadly. I can see a Trigon bringing up a 30-man blob of Dev Gaunts and then using this command point to bring up another 30-man squad of Dev Gaunts. That'll be pretty...
That'd be horrible.
Yeah, it'll be real brutal, that would. But yeah, that's a pretty powerful stratagem. I can actually see Lawrence using Juggermonday rules for his army, but they're not specifically in Juggermonday colours, so I can see him switching from here and there. Then we go on to Matt from Mini Wargaming's army, which is Kraken, which is units may charge after falling back. So that's pretty good, but there's no benefits, in my opinion. Like, there's no shooty unit. No, because it's not, they don't get a... Yeah, so he can retreat and charge, but there's no benefit to any of the units for doing that? Other than Carnifex? Pardon?
They can go first again when they charge.
Oh, well, actually, alright, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, actually, yeah. I understand that, yeah.
So if you've got 3 or 4 units in combat, pull them out and charge back in, then if your opponent can only interrupt the game with 2 command points.
Alright, yeah, okay, that makes more sense then. That makes more sense. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good then.
You're charging forward, you're smashing him with as many as you can. He might interrupt with 1 unit, then get the rest of his swings. You're tide alternating in their turn. You retreat, charge back in again, and do the same thing again, and you're in and out like that, battering them.
The Warlord trait is choose a unit within 6 inches of the Warlord. It may fight first in the fight phase, even if it didn't charge.
So there you go. That's actually quite...
Yeah, because it stops the Overwatch.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Its stratagem is Opportunistic Advance, which is 1 command point. Using the movement phase, choose a Kraken unit that does not have the fly keyword. When advancing, you can double the number you roll when determining how much to add to the unit's movement characteristic. That is insanely powerful on Gene Stealers, because they have an 8-inch move. If you roll a 6, then suddenly you use that command point, and that becomes a 12. Gene Stealers move 20 inches and can still charge.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's scary. Scary, scary. It's even scary on the likes of Homer guns and that as well. That's pretty interesting. I can see that being a full Gene Stealer army. I can see Gene Stealers becoming very prominent in Tyranid armies. They started doing the indexes, and now they're going to start doing now as well. But then we get into a high fleet that I had no idea of. Wouldn't have picked this one.
Before we do, though, in fact, as you do, you keep talking. I thought I was ready, but I'm not.
Oh, right. So Kronos is the classic colour scheme, Harry. It's the purple skin, blue carapace.
Mint.
It's the blue.
I'm going to buy a load of second edition mints off eBay for this.
It's blue carapace and purple skin. It's classical design there. That's pretty awesome, actually. I'm quite happy about that. But there's no Lexicanum.
I want to show Vandus something.
There's no Lexicanum.
Vandus, Lucy doesn't know about this.
Oh wow!
What do you think?
That looks pretty cool, I have to admit. It seems that Kronos doesn't have fluff. I'm going to look for fluff on High Fleet Kronos. But it's the classic Gene Stealer skin, so...
Does it just show you the Gene Stealer, or does it show you any of the others?
It's showing Carnifex, a Swarmlord, a Trigon.
Are they all the same colour?
Yeah. So like the Trigon has like purple skin and blue carapace, and then like green talons and green sort of mouth and tentacles. And then the Carnifex has like the weapons are like faded green into purple, and then blue carapace. But it's like really dark blue, and then the outer edges are really light blue fading into the carapace. It looks really cool.
What? My colour scheme's not that far from that, apart from there's a lot more purple in this than mine.
Yeah.
But mine isn't that different to this.
It looks really good. Like it's someone who's done this special project where they've painted this up, and it looks amazing. And I'm so happy that they're doing it because now it's the classic color scheme. So what?
I don't like Tyranids anymore.
Why?
Because I've learned a lot over the last year, and like I look at the Blood Angels and I'm not happy with them, and I look at the Tyranids and I just think, you know what? I literally dry brushed the entire Tyranid army in like 3 days.
Do you want to know what Kronos does then?
How is it?
If the unit doesn't move, you may re-roll ones to hit when shooting.
Devil Guards, Exocrines, Biovores,
Tyranifex.
Guard.
3+ hitting Biovores. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Reroll up ones.
Yes. Yes.
Yes! Do you think I should redo all my Tyranids?
It's up to you. I mean, you seem to really like the purple and blue scheme. But it's dedicated to something. I'll tell you the Warlord trait. If an enemy Psyker is within 18 inches of your Warlord and fails a Psyker test, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. Well, that's actually really good. For one, it's 18 inches. So if your Warlord's a Synapse creature, they are already at -1 to cast and roll. And if they fail it, they just suffer D3 mortal wounds. It doesn't say anything about if they roll like a double 1, because then they'll peril, and that's 2d3 mortal wounds on them. That's pretty good. I like that Warlord trait. That's pretty powerful. And then it's got a stratagem, which...
Before we go any further, Concealed just got nerfed in the Eldar Codex.
Oh, wow. What happened?
In the Eldar group. So instead of all units within 3 inches are at -1 to hit, instead of casting it on yourself, you choose one unit within 18.
Oh.
It's at -1.
Is that like FAQ or something?
No, it's in the Eldar Codex.
Oh, right. Well, there you go.
Somebody pointed it out in the Eldar book. Mine's at Lucy's and I haven't been seen today to pick it up.
Kronos, stratagem, against the shadows, 1 command point. Used when an enemy Psyker attempts to cast a spell within 24 inches of a Kronos unit. That Psyker can only use 1 dice for their Psyker test. But it adds though, doesn't it? So you got your Warlord trait of you got Channel the Warp, so -1 to the cast and roll, and then they've got this stratagem, so they get 1 dice, and then the Warlord trait, if the Psyker fails that cast and attempt within 18 inches of the Warlord, they suffer D3 mortal wounds.
That means you need a 6 to get Smite off.
Yeah.
Do that on Drago.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then we've got my army, Harry.
2 seconds. We've got Underdog. Peyton Barry has joined us. Vanders says hi. Glorious Bug Lady. Yes, Glorious Bug Lady. She is going in a box that she doesn't know about her, and she's going to open the box and see a fully line for her birthday on Friday.
I bet she'll shit herself.
She's going to kill us. That's what she's going to do.
What time am I supposed to come over on Friday?
I'll be in from work about 6:30.
Okay. All right.
Do you want a lift, Heidi?
I might need one. I'll organise it with you later. But we're on to my army now, Harry.
Your army, Phil.
We're on to Leviathan now.
What happened to Leviathan, Phil?
So I've been reading Devastation of Baal, Harry.
I listened to Dante.
Yeah, so the 2 first chapters of Devastation of Baal are for free.
It's a fantastic book, right? And I hate my Dante model, and I want to do one.
Yeah, I want to get the full Devastation of Baal book because they've got the first 2 chapters. They had them for free for a while in Black Library, but those first 2 chapters basically had more Blood Angel stuff than Leviathan stuff in. But it basically said that Mephiston looks at Dante and thinks Dante has been better than what Sanguinius was, and that Mephiston basically suggested to Dante that he could lead the Legion.
Yeah, he does.
And
it's in Dante as well.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, this could be pretty cool because they're not going to bring Sanguinius back. It was such a powerful death in the Horus Heresy. Just to bring him back, it takes away some of the meaning of the death. But
as a Blood Angel player, I hope they do not bring him back.
But then you got Mephiston and other characters saying, "Look, Dante, I would follow you if like as you were a Primarch, like if you were a Primarch." And
put it this way, right? In Dante, the book itself, I listened to the audio version, obviously. He actually he's the only person to have ever spoken to the Sanguinor, and he's seen him, I think, 5 or 6 times in his lifetime. And apparently, even Corbulo, they all believe that Dante is basically going to ascend and become Sanguinius because even Dante himself says he's closer to Sanguinius than he's ever been. I think Dante is going to ascend.
Yeah, I do think, with Cole being able to make a Primarch armour for Gulliman, I could totally see him making the armour and even mechanical wings for Dante. I could totally see all this happening, and I'm totally fine with it.
Bobby G did go and rescue Dante, basically.
So I'm looking. I think, Dante is sort of kind of like a prequel to Devastation of Baal in a way, and then I really hope there's this really powerful emotional storyline with Dante and Devastation of Baal, because that is just building up a really good Primarch right there, a really good leader, rather than, hey, blue boy with blonde hair who's father's favourite just woke up and decided to go wreak havoc in all the universe. I'd rather have this huge build-up to this leader, these wars that create this, person who will lead. And, it's pretty awesome. I really like it. But Leviathan is not dead. So basically, all of Leviathan that's been is the Vanguard, which is the first men into the fray in a battle, which sort of makes me feel, oh crap, now you're going to get the actual army now. Now you're going to get the actual Leviathan. Please, can we have a plastic Super Heavy Games Workshop? Please, you mighty overlords, give us a plastic Super Heavy. But I really like Leviathan, and I really like what they've done here with Leviathan. Now, I've not heard the Waller trait, I've not heard their stratagem, but I have heard the attribute, which is each unit may reroll 1 field to hit and to wound roll when it shoots or fights. Now, this is exactly like a Salamander one. Now, I've got Salamanders I'm currently trying to paint up, so I'm happy that this is here. It means I'll get to learn more of the rule that's going to be put across them. However, the reason why it works with Salamanders is that they've got special weapons in their squads. Here, my armies don't really have that, but I love to spend command points to reroll the dice all the time. So,
yes. Another thing I'd like to point out is this favours Nidzilla.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But it's like my Biovores, for example, they're 1 dice. So my Biovores are now re-rolling to hit and re-rolling to wound. So
but imagine that Exocrine, one re-roll to hit, one re-roll to wound.
Yeah, I would prefer the Kronos one for my Exocrines, where they get re-roll ones to shoot because they're staying still anyway.
So do you know what you do there? You take a detachment of Kronos with 6 Exocrines and a Malanthrope. Then you take a detachment of Leviathan.
No, the only reason why I don't want to do that is the Synapse thing is high fleet, which means the only Synapse to affect my Exocrines in that detachment would be my Malanthrope. I think I'm gonna look at that right now. I'm gonna look at it right now. This is what this is all about.
So then what you do, right, is you put your 6 Exocrines in a circle and stick your Malanthrope in the middle.
No, that's not actually a good idea. I probably want a second Malanthrope for starters, because not all going to be within the 6 inches of my Malanthrope. But
with a Madness is going to give a sneak peek. Please don't die, but I heard Turnit's going to get a new biggie.
Yeah, so it literally says. I hope it gets a new biggie.
Is not a Primarch, full stop. I know he's not a Primarch.
He's not.
He's going to ascend.
But
he's the only person to have been as close as he has to Sanguinius on the ethereal plane. He's the only person who spoke to the Sanguinor and seen him as many times. He's seen him before he was a Blood Angel, before he was a Space Marine. He saw him twice.
Yeah.
And the Sanguinor
come
back and save Dante.
Plus, Mephiston said he would follow him as if he was his Primarch, and all these other guys are like, "We'll follow you as our leader," you know. So it doesn't matter if he doesn't become a Primarch or not. They all see him as their great leader, you know. But I'm looking right here.
Devastation of Baal, right? How many successor chapters did he rally?
Yeah, even the exiled ones.
Every single one, barring the Angels Vermilion.
Yeah.
The only ones he would not go to. Every other single successor chapter supported him.
Mm. Even the exiled ones.
The oldest living Space Marine. He's 1,600 years old.
Mm.
Only one that's older is Bjorn.
Mm. And he's at a Dreadnought, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
But yeah, instinctive behavior, Synapse, it all has, unless a high fleet unit with his abilities within 24 inches of any friendly high fleet. So it'll be, unless a Kronos unit is within of any friendly Kronos unit. So I wouldn't be able to do that. Plus, I would have to paint them as Kronos, and I don't want to do that either. But I like my Leviathan roll. It basically gets me that free command point roll, which I'm really happy about because I spend them like crazy. So I've got command points spent somewhere else instead now.
That means if you fire your Exocrine twice, you naturally re-roll one and you can command point another.
Well, I'm re-rolling 2 if I'm firing twice.
No, I think it's not like the Castellans where it just doubles your shots.
No, it's you get to shoot twice in the shooting phase.
What I'm saying is it might change in the Codex because Castellans shoot twice. Now it's double the shots.
Well, okay, so it might change, yeah. But then you've got the Warlord trait. I haven't seen this. So after deployment, but before the first game turn, you may redeploy your Warlord.
That's handy.
Not when my Warlord is the Swarm Lord in Deep Strike Reserve, Harry.
So don't make him your Warlord.
But in other cases, I'm making my Warlord my Malanthrope, and generally I'm not removing him anyway. I don't think that's a good one.
It depends on what the generic ones are as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's one that I'm going to use unless I've got a Leviathan-specific monster that has to take that Warlord trait. But then we've got the stratagem.
See what Bandus has just said.
What he said? What was he saying? No way! What? A giant Biowar that would actually, I would lose my shit over that. I would lose my turtleneck.
You won't remember this, right? Back from 2nd edition, I remember when Epic 40,000 was really popular. And, I remember the Exocrines from back then. And I've seen a couple of the old Armorcast Exocrines. And there's another, and it's got 2 shells. They're cool.
Man, if there's a giant Biowar that was super heavy, I would actually lose my head.
Look, Google image now. Epic 40,000 Dactylus.
You've seen the Epic 40,000 Dominatrix as well for Tyranids.
Yep. Conrad actually tagged me in 40k conversion from 2 Oh, Hero Jewels.
Dactylus. Is this like a little grub with 2 arms?
I think so. Bearing in mind that model was like 3 or 4 millimeter.
Oh yeah. It looks cool. My stratagem, Harry. It's 1 command point. It's called War on All Fronts. Used during the fight phase, select an enemy unit within 1 inch of 1 flying and 1 non-flying Leviathan unit.
So you have to have a non-flying and a flying unit within range.
You may re-roll all to hit and to wound rolls of 1 for attacks against the enemy unit made by friendly Leviathan units. I'm actually losing my head over that. Because...
That's really complicated.
Because I can have my hive crowing, or even my pod, get into combat, and then my swarm lord join them, and then use that, and suddenly my swarm lord's rerolling all his failed to hits, and then he's rerolling 1s on his wounds.
Yeah.
And I get to reroll 1 failed dice as well. That sounds crazy. And
that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. Alright, so now we've got a little bit of...
This is the Swarm Lord command traits.
Hmm?
Like the Phoenix Lord where you can't take a command trait.
What, sorry?
The Swarm Lord won't have those command traits, by the way.
What, the Warlord trait?
Because it'll be like the Phoenix Lords, they can't take a Warlord trait.
Why? Did I have a set one?
Abilities.
Oh, alright, okay. Well, I'm fine with that.
It's kind of like named character in Sigma where you can't take a command trait because they've got them already kind of built in.
Alright, but now we've got something to change. So on the Tyrann effects, Harry, it is 2 shots normally, and it's like 4s to hit.
The rupture cannon.
What?
Rupture cannon.
Yeah, the rupture cannon on the Tyrann effects. So it's 2 shots normally right now, and if you hit with both, you do like it changes the AP and the damage, and if he stays still, you can fire twice. It's now 3 shots.
That's good because they need that when he's only hitting on 4s.
Yeah, so I think it's 3 shots, and now hopefully it stays at if 2 hit rather than all 3 hit. But and you can fire twice. You can use a stratagem to do +1 damage. You can put him in Kronos Fleet for rerolls 1s. So apparently, he can fire twice now. Hopefully that's if he stays still. And then there's a stratagem to make him +1 damage, which I'm thinking that more for the Hive, because that'll be like 20 shots, but if he stays still, 40 shots at strength 4, no minuses, 1 damage, but if you put that stratagem on, they'll become damage 2, which would be crazy against Space Marines, especially the Primaris.
It's still a 4+ to hit, so...
Yeah.
But still, depending on how you go, 4+ rerolling 1s isn't that bad, or 4+ rerolling 1 hitting 1 wound isn't that bad. So, shot kind of counteracts the ballistic skill.
So it's someone, there's this bit here that says, someone goes, most of the artifacts are so-so, but there is a 30-inch Norn crown that negates the effect of instinctive behavior, but doesn't give you anything else. So apparently that'll be something like a 30-inch sort of synapse. So yeah, instead of 24, it's now 30. So that'll be handy, I guess. But I'm not too bothered about that. And then we've got loads of stratagems here. So the wait, yeah, we've heard that one. We've heard that one. We've heard one once. Yeah, so 1 command point. Oh no, we've had that one as well. Alright, here's this one. 3 command points, Harry. Call the Brood. Using the end of movement phase, add a new unit of up to 5 Gene Stealers wholly within 6 of a Brood or Infestation node, but more than 9 enemy units. These, you do not have to pay points for these units.
Wow.
So 3 command points for 5 Gene Stealers, but within a Brood or Infestation...
If you're desperate for a new unit.
Yeah, within a Brood or Infestation node. What's a Brood or Infestation node? That's what's getting me all excited. But apparently it's the stuff that are in the box. It's these little objective marker type things that's in the box.
Objective markers at the minute, don't they?
Yeah, so hopefully that's something, we'll find out what they are better. We've got a 3 command point for Adrenaline Surge, end of fight phase, select a NID unit from Army, and that can immediately fight again.
Steelers! forces, unit of 20.
Screw that, Swarmlord, man.
Well,
let's put it like this, Harry. Do you know when you had your two knights really close to each other? Say if my Swarmlord attacked one knight and managed to kill it and piled into the other one, I'll spend 3 command points to attack with them again.
In that situation, yes.
Yeah. For example, I think that could be pretty good. 2 command points for digestive denial. After deployment, alright, I don't know what happened there. After deployment, but before turn start, choose a piece of terrain other than a fortification. The units fully within or on this piece of terrain do not gain any bonus to their saving throws for being in cover. If anyone piles in their whole army onto one big terrain, so law if someone piles it into one big terrain on deployment. I don't think that's good. I don't think that one's good. We've got 2 command points, single-minded annihilation, end of shoot phase, choose an infantry unit and shoot again. Oh my goodness! Imagine that on Hive Guard.
A unit of 6 Hive Guard.
Yeah, my unit of 6 Hive Guard in a pod. Drop them down, shoot them, and at the end of the shooting phase, spend 2 command points to shoot them again. That's powerful.
Absolutely worth it.
That is filth on a stick.
Then if you're re-rolling ones as well.
Oh, that is filth on a stick, man. 1 command point, Grizzly Feast. Morale phase, select a Ripper or Horospex unit. Enemy units within 6 inches must add 1 to morale test. That's pretty cool. But, you know, I can't just pop up my Rippers because they're 9 inches away, so they have to get closer. I don't think that's useful at all, but whatever. 2 command points, Pathogenic Slime. In the shooting phase, select a Tyrannid monster. Increase damage of its attacks for this phase by 1. So...
When Amanda says don't do that on Hive Guard, do you want something better? I was like, alright.
It's only on infantry, though. So, I don't know what infantry unit that's got shooting is better. Other than, like, Devil Gaunts, for example.
Gaunts.
Yeah, but this shooting...
Devil Gaunts, rerolling ones.
This is pretty interesting, actually, because I think I'm going to use Pathogenic Slime quite often. 2 command points for a Tyrannid monster and increases damage of attack by 1. So imagine a 3 damage Exocrine or 12-shot Devourer Dakar Flyrant that's 2 damage with its strength 7 minus 1 2 damage type situation. I can see that being used on Exocrine though, make it 3 damage. Strength 7 minus 3 damage, which would be pretty powerful. And it's...
Amanda says, no, pick a better unit for that stratagem. And I said, 30 Devil Gaunts. And he said, no, better still. Pyro unit in a pod to shoot twice.
But it's not within range because the Pyro's at 8 inches. So they still need to get there. Unless suddenly their flamer range has changed. If it's changed, then hell yeah. But that unit will probably be gone after 1 round of shooting. So I don't know whether that'll actually be useful at all. But we've got...
Anyway,
I
would love to continue chatting Tyranids, Phil, but we've been on for an hour about Tyranids.
I've got loads more stuff, though. I'll quickly go through everything, though.
How are we then?
3 command points for Spore Field. After both armies deploy, add up to 2 units of spine mines as reinforcements, but more than 12 inches away from enemy units. Yeah, that could work, because the Spore Mines can't be deployed 12 inches away, but that's pretty cool. 1 command point...
Pyro Poser, a 10-inch flamer.
If that's so, that's pretty cool. 1 command point, Invisible Hunter. Move in phase. Lictor within 1 inch of enemy. That model can fall back, shoot, and charge. So basically, 1 command point, Lictor within 1 inch of an enemy unit, and that enemy unit cannot fall back, shoot, or charge. Or the way the wording they've got here, that's the Lictor can do that. But whatever. 1 command point, Power of the Hive Mind. End of Psyker phase, choose a Nid Psyker that casted earlier, and it can cast 1 additional power again. 1 command point, Pheromone Trail. Choose when Nid infantry unit sets up as reinforcements or reserve. If a Lictor on the battlefield, you can set up wholly within 6 inches of a Lictor. Oh my goodness! And 9 inches away from enemy unit. So you could have Death Leaper and totally just set up a whole unit in reserve near him. That's pretty powerful. 2 command points, Death Frenzy. Use when Nid character dies. It can shoot again as if it were the shooting phase, or fight as if it was the fight phase. Wow, that's powerful. I can see Death Frenzy like when Gulliman kills my Swarmlord, and now I have to spend 2 command points and just make my Swarmlord attack anyway. That's pretty powerful, Harry. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Lawrence.
What?
Lawrence did that with Gulliman too.
What, he killed a Swarm Lord?
No, I'd go and fight twice.
Oh, right, okay. 1 command point, overrun, use when a NID unit destroys a unit in the fight and not within 3 inches of an enemy. That you can forego consolidation, but move and advance as if it was the moving phase, but cannot move within 1 inch of an enemy unit. So if a unit kills a unit and it can't get to another unit with its consolidation, you can spend a command point and move it and advance it, but can't get within 1 inch of an enemy model. That's pretty good. That's pretty handy. 1 command point, Ferocious Appetite. Fight phase, NID monster or character is chosen to fight, can reroll all fail to wounds for that model till the end of the phase. I'm going to spend so many command points on just my Swarm Lord for 1 turn to make it just amazing, and it's just going to ruin everyone's day. It's going to be so good. So
it's going to chain reaction across the board.
Yeah. Right, so new Carnifexes, there's the Screamer Killer, and there's the Thornback. Of course, you've got the normal Carnifex that can be kitted out where you can now. Screamer Killer is 88 points, I think someone said, but its equipment is all the same. It does not have a tail, which is pretty cool. If it charges on a 4, it does a mortal wound, and if it's charged in the face, it gets +1 to its hit roll, so it becomes 3s to hit. And it's got 2 Monster Siren Talons, and then it's got a shoot and attack, which is like strength 4 -5 1 damage, but it's like D6 shots, which is pretty good. I don't know what the Thorn. Yeah, it's bioplasmic. Bioplasma on a Screamer Killer. Pretty good. Plus it has a -1 to Psychers, so that can work well with Shadow the Warp, and it's also got a -1 to hit if you upgrade it with Spore Assists on it.
What does when I give Carnifexes?
+1 to hit.
So he's hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s?
Yeah, on a charge, yeah. But it's -1 to hit with the Spore Assist is not cumulative with the Malanthrope or Venomthrope rules, so it can basically go off on its own without the -1 to hit from them. Swarm Lord is not Leviathan keyword, which is pretty good. And it specifically says here, Swarm Lord has the reset up your Warlord before the game starts one. So it specifically got that. Leviathan trait is specifically this, 1 per battle round. So it might just be 1 unit per battle round can reroll a single hit, wound, damage, advance, charge, or save and throw. So if that's a specific wording, then I'll only get 1 dice to reroll in the per battle round, which is really terrible in comparison, to be honest. Here's a Psychic Barrage. You need 3 × 3 Zoanthropes units to shoot at a point. All units within 3 inches of that point rolls, and on a 4 up, unit suffers 3d3 mortal wounds. So 3 units of Zoanthropes pick a point on the battlefield. All units within 3 inches of that on a 4+ suffer 3d3 mortal wounds.
Could be good, could be bad.
Yeah, that's a stratagem. Another one here is start a fight phase, select a NID unit, roll d6 when a model dies. On a 6, an enemy suffers a mortal wound. 2 command points, end of movement, heal d3 wounds. A shooting phase, select a NID unit, +1 to wound for all Fleshbore or Fleshbore Hive attacks. That's pretty good because you could combine that with the Tyrannosaurus. 1 command point, feed a tendrils when a gene lictor, toxic venom. So I don't know what a gene lictor is. No, I don't know what toxic venom is. Kills a character in the fight phase. You gain D3 command points. So you can spend a command point, and if the gene lictor with toxic venom kills a character in the fight phase, you gain D3 command points. That's not bad. Implant attack. Use on a NID unit in a fight phase. Roll a d6 for each wounded enemy model, but not Saint. On a 2+, the model suffers a mortal wound. And then you got the artifact command point thing, and then you got 1 command point for movement. Use a move after a NID unit has moved. You can move that unit again, including advance. However, roll a d6 for every model, and on a 1, unit gets a mortal wound. Cannot shoot or charge that turn. Alright, so that's cool. Old One Eye.
Ali says that the Leviathan's not crap because you essentially get a free command point every single battle round.
But I would much prefer for the Salamander things on it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Old One Eye is down 200 points, so he's went up in points. but he's a 9 wound. Yeah, he's definitely gone up in points. I'll quickly check, but he's a 9 wound.
Do you want to grab the index?
What?
Just grab the index,
I've got it right here. Like, I've literally just pulled it up. Like, right here. I've literally just pulled up his rules, and so I'll pull up his points. Old One Eye is a 140 points with all his war gear before, so he's went up by 60 points. It's a huge increase. Huge increase. He's a 9 wound character, so you couldn't target him before, but you still can't. And you add 1 to hit roll if charged, if the Carnifex unit charged. So if that Screamer Killer charged, it gets +2 to its rolls. So that's been nerfed. It used to be just +1 to hit for Carnifexes. Now it's only +1 to hit if they charged. And he used to get every successful hit, he gets an extra dice to hit with. Now it's only that on a 6, and that's it. So he
went up in points and got worse.
Yeah, so he went up by 60 points. His +1 to hit roll for Carnifex is only if it's charged, and now his extra attacks when he hits are only on 6s rather if he just hits. So he got really bad, in my opinion. Tyrannid, our Lord and Saviour. Alright, yeah, so the Swarm Lord is now toughness 7 instead of toughness 6.
Way.
He gained an attack, so he's now 1 more attack, more. His synapse is 18 inches, and his invulns went up to 4 up, and if he's in combat, it goes to 3 up. So he got a buff. And Daka devs are 6. Alright, so wait. If that's right, if Daka devs are 6 shots, that means that a high flyrant with Twin Devourers of Brainleech Worms becomes 24 shots now?
Yeah, because if a Devourer is 6
because right now it's 3 shots each, and you get 2 on each arm, so it's 12 shots right now. If that's true, and it's 6 shots per one, it'll go to a 24-shot weapon platform. Strength 6, 0 AP, but 1 damage, and there's a way to make it 2 damage. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Devourer Flyrants may be back. It's 18 inch on acid spray.
That's good.
18 inches on acid spray. That's pretty good. Zone throw up. So the zone throw up War Blast is no longer a group of 4 for the War Blast ability. It's a group of 6. That's not good. I don't know whether it's actually it might be, but it just says zone group of 6 is +3 mortal wound damage on smite. Tyrant Guard have an extra attack, so there were only 2 attacks before, now they're 3 attacks each. Gene Stealers. Oh, what?
What?
So it says Genes, which I'm assuming is Gene Stealers, but then now they've got BS4. So then, alright, yeah, so it's not weapon skill 4. Oh, my goodness. But they're now BS4, and they can buy flesh hooks as options, which are essentially pistols. They've got a new ability, which is Infestation, which is you can put 4 nodes in your deployment zone. If enemy near it disappears, you can pop up from any of these 4 nodes as per normal Deep Strike Reserve. Either or option. Alright, I guess. So it says either or option, but lose run and charge with gain full plus armor save. I think that's supposed to be something like if I get the Carapace, I lose run and charge, but my 5 plus armor save goes to 4 up.
Yeah.
I don't think that's useful because my 5 invul is quite decent as it is, and I'd rather have the run and charge. Gargoyles can deep strike now. Horror Specs monster no charge but like huge point drop. Haru Mon no charge but like huge point drop 65 to 80 points. So I think he's saying, alright, Horror Specs has no change, but it has a 65 to 80 point drop. It needed that point drop for it to be viable. Venomthrope Brood with 3 or more gives cover to monsters.
Oh, that's a nice change.
So they've got their -1.
Cover to monsters.
Yeah. And 6 of them in the squad increases their range from 6 inches to 9 inches.
That's alright, but who on earth's going to take 6 Venomthropes in one
Well, it's
squad?
the fact that you only take 1 squad of 6 Venomthropes, and because of their sort of 2-inch distance, they'll have a huge bubble across the entirety of the army.
Yeah.
Maliceptor's now got a 4+ invul instead of a 5+. His Psychic Overload now includes on a 6, do 3 mortal wounds instead of 1. So he's a level 2 Psychic now, he's only level 1 before. His Psychic Overload used to be a bubble of 2+ mortal wound, but if you roll 6, it's now 3 mortal wounds instead of 1. That's pretty good because you could do that on 3 different units within range of his, with 1 Psychic Power. Toxic Crine is same-ish, but his Toxic Lashes are now -2 AP. I'm going to check his Toxic Lashes. This might mean that he's viable to me again, which would be nice if he is. Let's see now. Toxic Crine. Where are you, buddy? I see you. Yeah, so his Toxic Lashes before used to be Strength 7, -1, D3 damage. So now the -2 with reroll into wound. That's pretty good. That could be quite useful then. Triumphx is the same, but it sprays 2d6 now instead of 1d6. It's 18-inch range. If you don't move, you can fire twice. So imagine an 18-inch range flamer. That's 4d6. Rupture Cannon is 3 shots, strength 10, -3 d6 damage. So it's no double. If you both hit, they get better AP and damage. Exocrine is exactly the same, so no changes to the Exocrine. The Red Terror gives a bubble. What?
That you're massively relieved about the Exocrine.
Oh yeah, Red Terror now has -1 attack and -1 weapon skill.
What?
No, I don't know why it does that. No one uses Red Terror anyway. But Harpy has the same points, but its Venom Cannon are now D3, Strength 9, AP -2, 3 damage shots. Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about. A Tyrannocyte is cheaper, as Death Spitters are now cheaper. A Morlock is the same. However, it can now have a Bio Rattle, which is Strength User, AP -1 damage. The Toxic Spite is now Strength 1, D3 damage, but always wounds on 2s. A lot of weapons costs are slightly cheaper and inbuilt into the base cost of units that only can have them. Stinger Salvos are now 24 inches again, so that is factored into every existing model that can have them. And slight cost increase for everything that has them. A Crone, Hive Crone lost one of its attacks, and now it's at 3 attacks instead of 4, which means it's going to be 2 attacks and 1 on its tail. But its Tentaclids are no longer 2 shots, they're now 4 shots. So its Haywire 4-shot missiles are now better now, because there used to be 2 shots before, now they're 4 shots. Details about instinctive behavior and Shadow the Warp would be, no, wait. Shrikes are no longer in the Codex.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
That's upsetting. At least I haven't made any.
What about Flying Rippers?
I'm just going down everything right now. Alright, here's the generic Warlord traits. First battle round, but before turn begin, you can remove your wall and set them up again. Never suffer any hit roll penalties. Overwatch still on 6s. That's pretty good Warlord trait actually, but I don't know how I'll put it on. Unless it's something like Hive Tyrant, Warlord's Devourers, and I'll advance them. Number 3 is add 6 inches to your synapse. Number 4 is Warlord, kill a character in fight, and then friendly Hive unit within 3 inches getting a move as per normal at the end of the phase. Warlord, kill a character in fight, friendly Hive unit in 3 inches getting a move as per normal again at the end of the phase. So, yeah. Before battle start, choose an opponent unit. Warlord reroll all field hit rolls against that unit. All units with the same data sheet. So basically, if I pick Obliterator unit, I get a reroll on my filter hits against all Obliterators. After end of any phase, Warlord take a wound, remain on the battle. All damage to Warlord is at -1. That's pretty good. So if my Swarmlord took
you get the Serpent Shield.
Yeah. So basically, if my Swarmlord took a wound, then at the end of that phase, all damage against them is at -1.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It'll
probably be to a minimum of 1.
Yeah, to a minimum of 1, yeah. There is a relic for any character that gives either +1 strength, +1 attack, or +1 toughness. That's the old embargo effect. So I can give them +1 attack, +1 attack, +1 strength, +1 attack, or +1 toughness during the fight phase, and I have to roll a dice to see which one. There is a relic venom cannon, which has the same stats as a venom cannon except D6 shots instead of D3. But if the target is in D12 inches, it auto hits and always wounds on a 2+. Holy crap, that's powerful. Then we have... Oh wow, this is a big lot. Monsters Raining Claws are still 0 points and at the same stat line. That's pretty good for me. Swarmlord still has Hive Commander. Old One yeah. Neurothorpe is now HQ. Character, so the Neurothorpe's now a character HQ. And no longer part of the Zoanthorpe unit.
The Swarmlord can't take the character.
Yeah.
It looks as though they go down the route of Sigma, where named characters can't take a Warlord trait because it's they've got them built in essentially.
Yep. Neurothorpe is cheap as balls. It is 40 points.
Wow.
Yep.
Because I think he was even in the unit. He was 50 points to take in a unit, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, no, he was 40 points in the unit.
Oh, right.
He was the same as a normal Zoanthorpe. There was no difference for him. No changes to Raveners. Exocrine with all war gears 210, which means Exocrine's got cheaper by 15 points and stayed the same in rules. I'm so happy about that. That's amazing. That's basically given me... It's given me 90 points. That's basically buying my 3 Biowars for free. So that point decrease.
And 2 Neurothropes.
No. 6 Exocrines with a 15-point decrease is 90 points. Yeah. My 3 Biofloors are 96.
Get 2 Neurothropes in there.
What?
You can get 2 Neurothropes in for that cost.
Yeah, but I can get my 3 Biofloors in.
Alright.
Tranifex is now 185 points, so he got cheaper. Rupture Cannon is cheaper. There's individual upgrades of basic Carnifexes, which can give them +1 brisk skill, +1 attack on the charge, -1 a hit from enemy shooting. On the charge, Carnifexes and Screaming Killers now get +1 a hit. Monster Siren Talons as well are now... Yeah, so a Carnifex with dual monster... a Carnifex with dual monstrous Siren Talons is now 90 points in total.
That's good.
Don't have much info on the Thornback, other than end of combat, roll a d6 for every enemy unit in combat with it. On a 6 it deals 1 mortal wound. There's a Biomorph that gives it -1 to hit enemy shooters, does not stack with Venomthropes. Said Biomorph is 10 points. And it's basically going saying -1 to hit from enemy shooting for a Carnifex is 10 points, +1 attack is 8 points, and +1 brisk skill is 10 points.
But this is my trumps. I'm having about this because on Skype, stuck, but it's sitting on OBS. So your display my cam is stuck.
Who's stuck? Harry's. Is mine okay?
Yeah, I think it was okay. Just mine stuck.
Harry's cam is stuck.
See, it's not on Skype.
You're stuck on my Skype. Yeah. Oh, there you go. You're starting to come back to it on Skype.
Skype or something.
Yeah, Skype I might be just messing up. Alright. So all the different head options for the Carnifex has different effects. So there's Enhanced Sensors, Tusks, Monstrous Acid Maw, Chitin Thorns, Spine Banks, and Spore Cysts.
And you're not ripping all the heads off my Carnifexes. Screw that.
Hive Tyrants are now toughness 7. 12 wounds instead of 10. Wings now give him Deep Strike as well. And he has a 4 invul instead of 5 of invul.
Yeah, I think we've been over most of this now.
Carnifex is no longer toughness 6, it's now toughness 7.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, all this is starting to be coming up now. Yeah, so Hive Tyrants have lost an attack as well.
They only had like 4, didn't they?
They had 5, and then 1 would be used on the tail. Now they'll have 3, 1 will be used on the tail.
Right.
And the only way to get more is by doubling up on weapons. Yeah, everything seems to be the same. Tyrannicide is now 100 points, and then 5 points for every Death Spitter. So it'll be 125 points instead of 160 points now.
See, that annoys me, right? Because I look at a specimen drop, right? It's 105, and you get a snowball, where at least you get Death Spitters on that, and it's only like 20 points more.
Yeah. The Malicept is now 172 points with a point decrease. That's perfect. Another person confirming that Exocrines are 15 points cheaper.
I'm just going to ask, Vandus, do you know any information about Blood Angels yet? I've heard that Assault Marines is going to be the way I need to go.
220 points for Horsepecks instead of being close to a 300. Gene Stealers are 12 points in total. 10 points for body, 2 points for Rend Claws, which means 5 of them is now 60 points instead of 70 points, so the Gene Stealers got a bit cheaper.
Surprised for that.
X-Grind and Trinifex still get a fire twice if they stay still. And then now now with the Rupture Cannon changes to making it heavy 3, strength 10, AP minus 3, T6 damage, that Stained Steel now looks to be a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah.
Because that'll be 6 shots at strength 10, minus 3 D6 damage. I think I might get a Trinifex.
Madness is best chance of what we heard. The Dark Angels are feeling best, but maybe just during the Codex.
Someone wants to.
There's supposed to be 2 more Codexes before Christmas, isn't there, Phil?
Yeah, there's supposed to be 2 more.
Does anyone know if there'll be any rumors what the other 2 are going to be?
Yeah. So apparently this guy hasn't seen anything of Lord of Wars for Tyranids. The Doom of Malantire was mentioned along with the Parasite and Morbidix, but only in the fluff. Crushing Claws are no longer 20 points a model, they're now 12 points a model. Bone Swords have gone up to 4 points instead of 2 points. Bio Wars are the same. Bowman rules are the same. Hive Guard are cheaper. That's amazing. Why is all my stuff getting cheaper? That's great.
So does this mean you could probably start working on a list?
No way can I start working at a list. Not until I see everything and I know it's all true. I think when I'm looking at it right now, if everything's got a point decrease, there's probably space for other units now. But yeah, it's pretty good. Well, that's all the Tyranid leaks. That's a lot of Tyranid leaks. Yeah, so that's all the Tyranid leaks. Now I want to talk about hidden gems. There's some hidden gem armies in terms of Necrons.
With that, Vandus says was a Space Marine Codex that we heard of, but not Blood Angels, and then Tau. So it's either Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Wolves, or Death Watch, and then Tau. If it is Tau, that'll be bloody fantastic because I'm getting me Riptides and my Crisis suit in about 3 weeks, Phil. And I've got a Yuvara right here on my desk.
Yeah. So surprise hidden gems of armies. Well, we kind of really noticed that Tau, even though they look absolutely awful on paper and how all this work, they actually are pretty good. They've won some good tournaments being spammed with the commanders, but even your list with infantry heavy is scary.
Do you know what? A guy who went to military called Lewis, right, took an all-rounded list. He had a Ghost Keel, a couple of crisis suits, a load of fire warriors. He had a hammerhead and guy long strike. He just had a general all-rounded list, and he only lost one game, and that was to Chris Tootle, who took a Teos, who Lawrence drew with. He actually went on to win the tournament, but that was the only game that Lewis actually lost, and he just had a rounded list. Didn't have a spammy list, he just had a nice little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think you need to have this good synergy with the Tau, and they can work. They can be really, really powerful, which I think is really awesome to know that, don't give up. No, not all of you should give up, because they're still there. However, the other sprites and gems, we all know that Zinch are pretty powerful when you spam characters. But as we noticed the other day, my Nurgle, I just built my Nurgle around symmetry, where I was like, I want my 2 squads of giant plague bearers. I want a herald with each because it looks cool. I want 2 squads to go alongside them. That'll be my movement, which is my plague drones. I want a demon prince with each of them. I want my big guy. I want my actual character leader being Epidemius. And then points to fill in everything else was the demon prince and Horticulus. So it was just like, I was just filling in gaps, looking at symmetry and stuff like that, and it turned out to be a really powerful army, which I liked. That was pretty much a big surprise. But I like how I can go my chariot flamer army with my Zinch, and that can still be good rather than looking at all these people spamming the Psychers, and that's what they're doing. But the other hidden gems that I want to think about is bad hidden gems, like because the Nurgle, Sinesh, and Zinch have such a good way of spamming my Psychers. Khorne suffers so much because they're not Psychers, and thus because of that they become just automatically one of the worst demon armies you can have because they can't put out the mortal wounds in comparison. Which is quite upsetting because they were kind of really good in Sigmar. Well, not kind of, they're just really, really good in Sigmar. But there's other things like the Necrons are actually pretty decent, but as soon as you know how to fight against them, like just focusing on one unit at a time, then that's it for them. But there is like a destroyer list that are pretty good. Having 2 big bloods of Necron warriors and Ghost Arcs, that's pretty powerful. And I think there's a lot of things that people just don't notice that are actually really good. Like Custodes, you don't see them quite often, but they are really, really strong.
Geez. I played against Toby's Custodes and they were hard.
Yeah, they are really strong, but next to no one plays them, which is pretty interesting. I do think Gene Stealer can be really powerful, but there's a lot of Gene Stealer spamming and character spamming with them as well. Kiblams has just joined. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing alright. But there's a lot of surprising army lists out there that people work towards, and I like that. And I like the fact that with, like, for example, the Eldar Codex, there's so many different ways you can create it. I'm looking forward to seeing some hidden gemmed lists and that sort of thing.
Before with the Eldar Codex, you would just see the same list again and again and again. So
Warp Spiders, Bikers, Wraith Knight.
Now you're going to see so many different lists just because of that. I mean, it depends on your playstyle. Loads of people are going to go Ulthware. Loads of people are going to go Iamden. I think loads of people go Biltan and Laytok. You're not good. It's going to be very rare that you go to a tournament now and go, oh god, I'm playing Eldar. It's going to be Jet Bikes and a Wraith Knight. Oh my god, it's so boring. Yawn. But you're going to get a good mix of opponents.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about, I don't really like, if the Leviathan rules are true, I don't really like it to a point. I love Leviathan, but mine's not completely Leviathan because Leviathan has white skin, and mine is more of a creamy skin. I'm thinking about, I want to do some more deals on the Carapace, but maybe do this something just a little bit different from Leviathan. I want it to still
have some yellow bits on the Carapace from 40. So I would change it and do something else.
What, change my entire colour scheme? Harry?
No, just change the colour bits.
The Carapace?
Do like a bright blue highlight in the middle of it.
Right. So, like a bright blue highlight in the middle of my purple Carapace?
Yeah. You know what Matt Wilson did with these?
Oh, like these tattoos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah.
Maybe it's not to that extent, but you know the highlights that people put in, and like the big straight lines. You've got black canvas, you do a dark grey, then you do a light grey, then you do a white.
Oh, I don't want to do the flicker because that's done by so many people. I would rather do like tattoos on it, or totally change sort of purplish color from it a little bit. But it's sort of like a dark purple. So I'm gonna try and, because they're not that impressive in terms of their color scheme. So I'm gonna try and change the color scheme, but make it something of my own, so that I can have access to the other rules. So maybe if I do some different details on the skin, such as painting all little vein parts on them a little bit as well, that could be pretty interesting. I think because I've got the green slime on my weapons, I might do a lot of green slime places or something like that to see what it works with. But there's a lot of hidden gems out there. Now, something interesting that's coming out. We've played like the old one, which is Necromonday. The game's coming. I'm expecting it to be there's a board game different version, or they've given you the sort of like actual board so you can play on it straight away. But I'm actually expecting it to be a more complicated version of Armageddon. I don't like Armageddon. It's so simplistic. It's so bad. I like Necromonday because you had to have like a lot more into it. However, there is Necromonday scenery coming out and Necromonday bases. The bases just look like the normal industrial bases that people have had before, but now they're in like smaller packs. Like there's a 25mm pack and a 32mm pack, which is pretty interesting. But the scenery, there is like little walls that are in the big snow map box, but then they brought out these sort of like plasmic generators and things like that that's coming with them.
So the moon-based Classier's ruins are 1750, and they look pretty cool. I contemplated picking them up, but then you can buy the Necromonday bulkheads separate as well. And again, I'm kind of thinking, do I want them? Well, bulkheads really aren't going to make that much effect on a game of 40k. So I'm probably not going to pick them up. But then it becomes the question, Phil, is do we get into Necromonday? It's another game, and you're at uni, I'm at college, and it's hard enough to get 1 or 2 games filmed a week at the minute anyway.
I think Shadespire is quite quick. It really all depends. I think you should wait, see how quick Necromonday is. If it's not quick, I would say no. But I don't want to spread that with some other people. The scenery-wise, the plasmic generators do look cool. Like, it's not the piped ones, but it's the actual building-esque one. But yeah. I wouldn't...
I'll probably pick them and the other plasma pipes up. The ones that look like the Promethean relay pipes, but the plasma.
Yeah.
And then, like Phil said, the generator. I'll probably pick those 2 up.
Yeah.
Because they look pretty cool.
And then, talking about new terrain, there's new big bundles of terrain that's coming out. Now, there's a 40k one with all the Eldar Deathwell Forest and the Bastion in it. But then you got the Age of Sigmar one with that 5-pillar dragon thing on it, which...
The Dragon Fate dice. Now, interestingly enough, right, the Dragon Fate die is technically... Well, I feel a couple of weeks, a couple of weeks, a few months ago, it was in the summer. And you've probably seen that in the battle reports. So the fact that they're bringing that back in there, now I added up the value of that box, Phil.
Yeah.
I think it was £135 or £130 worth of scenery in that box.
Yeah.
War games, you get additional 15% off that.
So
it's nearly £15 off. So for £75, you get 2 realm gates, Fidian Archway, Luminous Killer, and the Dragon Pit dice.
Yeah, you get all this like scenery that's like a really, really expensive but really good price. And one of them you can't even get anymore, which is the Dragon Fate dice, where it is. Dial, where it is. I think that's pretty good. That's our next thing for Patreon, right?
It is, yep. So anybody who makes any donation to me, of course, the subscriptions coming in Patreon this month, that is going towards that. Because as much as we've been doing it about a year now,
yeah.
But I haven't really getting that much fantasy terrain. I mean, obviously, we're getting some GameMag.eu houses.
Yeah,
I can't think what they're called.
We've got like a desert one with all the rocks and that. We've got the snow one.
But now I've got the Gothic ruins, and then we've got the Hamlet houses as well. But we just want a little bit more because we've only got those 3 pieces of Age of Sigmar terrain.
What I was thinking was perhaps you could do, because you've got like sort of like a palace mat, right?
Yes.
You could do a lot of like the dwarven pillars that you see on like Lord of the Rings, like getting the custom cut out form, and doing the dwarven pillars, which would be pretty cool. I think I might work on that if I were to have passion for dwarves. But I've really been crushed over the new release, to be honest. Narrative missions, the Death Watch are getting closer, aren't they?
I've really got a squad done.
Yeah. One squad.
I've been furiously painting this month. I got the entire Primaris army done.
Yeah.
So that was 16 Intercessors, 16 Reavers, 10 Hellblasters, 3 Aggressors, 3 Inceptors, a Redemptor and a Pulsar. I didn't get 3 characters painted.
Yeah. So I've got my 3 Beasts of Nurgle to do. I've got my other Nurglings to do. And then I've got just 10 more Plague Bearers. And then for the Zinch stuff, I've got the Horrors to do. And I might do the Screamers. And then that'll be the extra demons that go to it. I don't think I'll have any Slaanesh done in time. But we have Khorne, and you might be able to grab Graham for Slaanesh. But yeah, it's looking like that Death Watch and Marine versus Demons one's going to be coming soon. However, we're going to still be doing battle reports with narrative stuff in them, with graphics on them as well. So that should be pretty awesome. Harry, I can see the yellow drop pod behind you. Don't know if you want to show the camera. This yellow drop pod's going to be part of one of the missions with the axe in it, which will be pretty cool.
As well.
Yeah, so that's going to be part of the mission. That's an Imperial Fist drop pod, ladies and gentlemen. Imperial Fists are not coming to the channel.
Just to clarify that.
Just to clarify that.
I've also painted up the Aquila as well.
Yeah, and there's the Aquila. That would be pretty cool to see. I think Harry might be using some of my Death Watch as well if we do a bigger game. Some of my Death Watch are done. I think he'll definitely want to use my Corvus. But yeah, it'll be pretty cool. What's the drop history, Harry?
What do you mean?
Vandus Hammerhand saying, what's the drop history? I think he's talking about the drop pod, but you'll find out.
So basically, it's going to be...
You'll find out. Don't tell him, Harry. Don't tell him. 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 Leave him in suspense. Don't tell him.
Bloodthirst lost an axe in it.
Don't tell him.
Admech versus Tau.
Yeah, you're done now. That's good.
Admech versus Tau.
Heresy. I'll tell you what's heresy. Liberian. That's what's heresy.
I've got a little bit of Tau in front of us. I've basically got a shield wall. And once the shield wall's painted up, I'm then going to start the game. Lucy is going to be playing the Tau. Did you hear that, Phil?
What's more complicated, Tau or Admech?
I asked her which one she wanted to play.
She'll lose her mind? They're both so synergistic. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a good test though, right? But whatever. I mean, it's more narrative than anything else, so whatever.
She struggles with Harlequins because every model in there is different. So I think she'll do really well with Primaris Marines because everything in the squad is the same.
Is Darkstrider done?
No. Phil?
Is Vizark done? Harry, man.
What?
Can you get him done, please?
No.
I really want to take him and just a 10-man squad of Incubi in a Raider.
I am painting Ilaria.
Finish Vizark! I want my Darkstrider done. I want my Vizark. I want Darkstrider versus Vizark.
Vandus says you want heresy. If I end up telling you what the Tuna Codex will have, you're going to drop lol. Lucy can try Tyranids. She won't play them, Vandus. She doesn't like them.
How can she not like Tyranids? They're so cute. Vandus, what's in the Tyranid Codex then?
Lucy kind of likes Marines because they're basically Sigmarites. But she doesn't like it when there's like more. Like, she can handle a squad of Kabalite warriors with Darklance. But when she's like, oh, so that one's got Darklance, that one's got Blast, that one's got Blast Pistol. And she's just like, no! Just on weapon, please.
Don't make the threat, Vandus, if you're not going to go through it. Now I'm not going to believe you whenever you say anything.
Oh. Phil, have you found a doubles partner for the Dark Dogs War doubles tournament yet?
What? I don't know about this doubles tournament.
It's called Doubling Down. It's on the 11th of December.
What's the points?
Huh?
What's the points? Is it 1,500 per person?
Don't know. Probably be 2.5.
Alright, and what army are you thinking?
Me and Lucy's going double dark, double dark.
Oh, why did you say to ever find a partner if you go with Lucy?
Dude, I'm going to take 3 Ravagers, 3 Reapers, 3 Razor Wings, and then the Venoms filled with Warriors with Blasters.
Okay.
I need a few more.
So in the doubles, can you go with 2 armies that are not friendly, or does it have to be?
Well, if you remember, Phil, when we went to a doubles tournament last year with Gene Steele and Cult, and what was our second game?
No, but they've had rules about being able to take them to though. But there's no rules saying like I can go with Conrad and we could just go Eldar and Tyranids.
Well, Conrad hasn't put anything up like that yet, I don't think. But remind the viewers, Phil, when we had 2,500 points of Gene Steele and Cult, what was our second game against?
Zinch, Demons, and Deathwatch.
And what did the Zinch Demons have lots of?
Screamers, which I heard of crap now.
And Flamers.
Which are canny now.
Okay, but bear in mind we've talked here.
Yeah, I know. I mean...
And what did the Death Watch have, Phil?
All the Flamers.
Did we go first, Phil?
We lost the 20 Gene Steelers and Brewlord, didn't we? Like turn 1.
Yeah, but how many times out of 3 games did we go first?
None. But I just can't believe I went up to that Aquila and was like, yeah, my Arbrins are gonna screw you over, and it's like you need 7s to wound, and I was like, that's right, that's right, yeah.
Vandus has just replied, I won't tell you how much broken the combination of a Neurothrop, Venomthrops, and Exocrines will be.
What's a Neurothrop gonna do to an Exocrine?
Synapse?
I'd rather just take a Maranthrop, because for starters, the Maranthrop is cheaper than 3 Venomthrops and a Neurothrop. It has the Psychic powers the same as a Neurothrop. It's lower. It's probably less points than a Neurothrop and a Venomthrope, and it'll just give me the same boost to the Exocrine. Shenanigans, cool. I don't care. Screw you, Vandus. I don't like Stormcast anyway. You're just remakes of Space Marines. That's what you are.
Vandus says you don't know the Tyranid adaptions. I do.
You don't. You don't have proof. You don't have proof. You can't handle the truth.
Vandus said we'll grab your phone charger.
You can't handle the truth, Vandus. You just can't. You can't handle this. Can't handle this. Can't handle this. You can't handle this. You can't handle this. This. So we our last topic is where is AOS? So currently we've just had Shadespire release, which it's its own thing. But we've just before that we had Firestorm, but it actually feels like it's been like months since we had the General's Handbook.
Even the General's Handbook.
Yeah, the General's Handbook was just some new rules that should have been really there from the start, to be honest. And it didn't really bring any new models or anything like that. And then since then we've had Firestorm, no new models, just a new way to play. And then we had Shadespire, which is just a new way to play. I was hoping for a Nurgle release, but we haven't had that. And then over the next few weeks, because we know that the Skaven and Dwarfs are coming for Shadespire, and all we've got left is November and December, and it's before December that we're supposed to get them. It's going to be Tune release on the 11th. Week after that, pre-orders go up or something like that for the next bits of Shadespire, and then boom, them bits of Shadespire come up. Then in December we'll have a week of teasing the Tau, for example. Then we'll have that codex, and then we'll have next one, and then we'll have the next codex, and that's it. So I don't think we'll see anything new for AOS other than just Shadespire stuff up until 2018. And then we know that in spring 2018, it's going to be Maligans, Death Maligans, which is that's it. So really, I was expecting Age of Sigmar Nurgle, but the best we got was this flipping dial with no artifacts and no command traits, which sucks. Actually, really does suck. The dial's pretty good, but no command traits or artifacts is pretty bland. And it's like, where you at, man? Where you at? Yeah. But where is AOS? Where are you, Age of Sigmar? Something really funny that happened today, Harry, is they showed an article about the new Horus Heresy Age of Darkness book that's coming out, which is 7th edition.
Yeah, the book is invisible.
Pardon? What did you say?
They got rid of invisibility.
Alright, yeah, I saw that. But it's pretty funny on their first question, because it's called Horus Heresy Age of Darkness. The literary question was like, what's in Horus Heresy Age of Sigmar? And I was just like, wow, that's really funny. That's actually really funny. But yeah, it's like, where is Age of Sigmar? I thought for a moment, do they mean Horus Heresy Age of Darkness 7.1 edition? Or do they mean they brought out a Forge World book for Age of Sigmar? I was like, why would Age of Sigmar have Horus Heresy? And that's totally, what would that be like if Sigmar had a Horus Heresy?
Chaos Sigmarite.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting.
Oh, imagine Graham's reaction to that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting.
Should I ask him how he feels about it?
You can if you want. But yeah, that's generally it for our agenda. We spent a lot of time on the Tyranids.
Yes, unless you trot the Age of Sigmar fans page, right, you will find the gentleman by the name of Graham Donaldson absolutely worships the heretic base for the next, yeah? And you'll know how much he finds and hates Stormcast and Corn with a passion. And it's a case of wine, Stormcast. Wine, Stormcast. Wine, Stormcast. So, Graham, I heard a rumour today that some of Sigmar's Stormcast get tainted by chaos.
A rumour. It's not true, Harry.
And you apparently will be getting loads of Stormcast covered in spikes and skulls who are traitors, and you can use in your Chaos army and give them the various marks of chaos. What are your thoughts on this?
I found more rules for 3 of the other relics.
Okay.
The Kraken relic is -1 to hit from enemy shooting.
Wait. Vanda says that's BS. 3 chambers left. Stormcast can't be corrupted. Graham doesn't know that.
Apparently, the Gorgon relic is after being wounded the first time, you gain +1 toughness for the rest of the game. The Reaper Obliterates is back, which replaces a Bone Sword, Whip, or Monstrous Bone Sword and Whip. On a 6 to wound, do double damage. And then here's some of the more simple stuff. The Devourer of Bleeding Worms is 7 points. Decimator's Restoring Magus is now 7 points. And then Assault 6 and Assault 3. Monstrous Bone Swords are 20 points. Monstrous Bone Swords with Whips are 15 points. There's a chitin biomorph for monsters creatures. I'm just going through this leaked forum right now, hoping to reveal anything.
I just realised I missed a twig off Bug Lady's hand. This is a beautiful model, by the way. Apart from I accidentally snapped the staff. Come on, Graham. Come on. He hasn't seen it yet, and I've tagged him as well. I want to know what his reaction is going to be because he absolutely detests Stormcast.
Oh, here we go. Thornbacks are 70 points base. That's Thornback Carnifexes. And it starts with 2 Devourers with Brainleech Worms and a pair of Monstrous Cyber Talons and a Chitin Biomorph, which would end up as 108 points in total. And it can swap the Devourers with Despots or Slime Maggots. It can swap the Claws with a Stranglethorn and no other weapon options. It can take a -1 to hit Biomorph and the Ballistic Skill 3 Biomorph for 10 points each. So basically, this is a shooting thing that's better. Basically, this guy has better shooting capabilities and has a better tail in combat.
So, you know my 3 Carnifexes have all got twin Devourers. What should I do? Because I've got like 8 pairs of arms.
They are 2. Well, I would wait till the decks first. The Screamer Killers look to be one of the best, which is dual talons, no tail.
So basically, because I've got 3 with dual Devourers, rip a set of arms off and put the silent talons on.
Yeah. But I would wait to see the rest because there's a lot of biomorphs that we just don't know about yet. And I probably would just go for a normal Carnifex and customize it the way I want. But if it fits into like a Screamer Killer, I would love to have the Bioplasma, you know? Yeah, that's it so far for the leaks.
So, as far as narrative campaigns go, as many people have said, we've got 2 in the pipeline, so it's kind of going to be Blood Angels and Deathwatch versus Demons.
Yeah, and I'm currently writing Blood Angels versus Tyranids.
Phil, there's also another army that could appear to help those guys out. Isn't there?
Is there?
Oh yeah, you've got a new army.
Oh, Salamanders.
No, the other one. The ones that nobody's supposed to know about.
Talking about my Grey Knights?
Yes.
I've got a new model to it. Do you want to see him?
Yeah, is it Drago?
No. I haven't got Drago.
You need Drago and a Dread Knight. Crow. Yeah, Chuck.
Chuck. I need a paid Chucker. But I've got one of every assassin bar the psychic one.
Look what I've got.
Yeah. Do you want to see something, Harry?
Vander says he's not going to say anything about Tyranids. Whistle. Necrons. I don't know what that means, Vander. Timbo.
I think he was trying to guess what new army you got. Oh, no! 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 No!
What?
Oh, where is it? Where is it? No! No! Oh, for fuck's sake. So my giant spider, that was going to be one of my beasts of Nurgle, one of its legs had come off and it was so hard to glue it all together, the super glue on that. But I'm basically going to be putting a grot on top of this spider, and I'm going to start a Spider Fang army for Sigma.
What happened to that spider model?
That's the one I'm talking about, Harry.
What?
I'm talking about that spider model right here. It was going to be my Beast of Nurgle, but now I've got different conversions from my Beast of Nurgle from the Plague Drone kit.
Okay. Well, this is one step close to a maniac. Yep, it is.
Alright, cool. Michael was selling his Nurgle Mortals army for super cheap the other day. 20 Blight Kings.
And there was like at least 4 units of Blight Knights in there.
Yeah, it was 20 Blight Kings. His conversion on Bloodswarm, and there's 3 characters. It was, like the Blight Kings, like 33 quid a box. So there's like 132 quid there, and then yeah, and on resin bases. And then you've got the 2 characters, which are about a tenner each, and then you've got the Blob Swarm, which is a conversion, but he's like 36 quid, so we'll just cut in the middle and say something like 20 quid for him. So there's already 170 quid, near enough, 180 quid. And then you had other bits, and I think another character in there as well. So he was like dropping about 80, 90 quid. And he was selling it all for just 100. And they were painted, they were all on resin bases. Some of them weren't painted, but they were all on resin bases. And I was like, holy moly. I was such a good deal. I didn't want to spend more money because I was waiting for the Tyranid Codex. It was either that or Tyranid models when the Tyranid Codex comes out. So I had to make a decision. And that's what I did. But I didn't buy it. So I know someone messaged the Dark Arts and asked him where you were located so you could pick it up. And I was like, it's not us, by the way. It's Michael Sharpie.
Yeah, I thought that was you because I got the notification and then I went to go and check it. And it was just like, oh, someone's replied.
Yeah.
And I was sat next to Lucy. I was like, did you reply? She's like, what are you on about? I was like, oh, still then.
Yeah. And
do you remember the picture I sent you that Saria drew for us?
Yeah.
Do you want to share it with everyone?
Hold on. Oh yeah, I could probably do that. I could probably bring it up here.
I think you might have to like, just cut me off the screen for a bit, but you'll still hear us. So he's trying the Blight King formation. He was, but he's decided to sell.
Yeah.
Because he's got orcs instead. He's in a bit of a odd position at the minute. He's not working at the minute, so like something's got to go. But yeah, amazing. I don't know if he's still got them actually. Vanda says save money for the Tyranid Codex and the High Fleet dice. Oh, you know you want to set dice as well, yeah.
Dice.
I'm going basically, so you want Dex cards and you want to set a dice as well.
Alright, yeah, that was yeah. I want the Dex, the cards, the dice. So Harry, I'm pretty sure I sent you the picture, but I was playing Destiny randomly, just to everyone who's watching. I was playing Destiny just randomly, not with anyone, and it's like I was just in patrol where other people can join me, and there was a guy who was just fighting alongside me, and his name was Conrad Dakan, and I was like, wait, that's Conrad from Darla. So I messaged him, and it turns out it was actually him. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. We, like, one connector or anything like that, we just found each other randomly in the game, and we were just suddenly met up with each other. It was like, wow, that was just unbelievable. But, right, oh yes.
So, Conrad's fiance is a very, very good anime artist, and she did
yeah, she draws furry porn. I was a bit freaked out by it, but, you know, whatever. Do whatever you want. I'm not bothered by it. Oh, there it is. Can you see it on the screen, Harry?
Well, there's a bit of a delay, so you'll have to wait a few seconds.
Hopefully it'll come up soon.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, you see it?
Yeah.
There we go. That's the fan art. I really like how you and Lucy are just normal, and I'm just like creeping over, just like, just like, what have we got over here? Like with my hand on your shoulder and everything, just like.
Oh no! Amanda says I know you were going to hit it high, but Lucy's going to get more strong cast next year. Oh, don't say that! Don't say that! Honestly, she's already at the point where she says she's sick of having no money, right? And she's going to sell her models. I'm like, no, don't sell them. Which reminds me, if I can be bothered to do it after this live stream, I'm going to edit the Sylvanas versus Beast Claw Raider battle report. Told you Phil going to turn into a maniac. What do you mean going to turn into mages? Oh, what?
Oh, Harry's just losing his head.
She's casting like 2 spells per guy, which means over 2,500 points. She's casting 10 spells on this.
Well, on that note, I think it's time. It's 11 o'clock now. It's time to call it a night on this stream. Next Monday, though, Harry, we'll have the full week of Tyranid releases on Warhammer Community to talk about.
Yep.
And is that... yeah, and that's after the Saturday where we pre-ordered our Tyranid stuff.
Good. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it's also... We'll be able to talk about Lucy's birthday and playing all the board games, which will be pretty funny.
Yeah. We might. In fact, no, I was going to say we might have a weekend stream, but I don't think so, because it's coming around on the Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday, we'll go to the cinema to see Murder in the Orient Express. And then we're going to see The Lights of Seaburn. And then Sunday is her actual birthday, so I'll be staying at hers on Saturday. And we'll probably go for dinner with her parents or something.
It's pretty cool. Sounds fun. Sounds fun.
So, wrap this up. If you would like to... Yeah. If you would like to support us and help us continually expand the channel, donations can be made via PayPal to the Dark Artisan 40k@gmail.com. Alternatively, you can support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, and that grants you early access to all the battle reports and gets you 1 week early access. It also gives you a couple of other things, such as access to the Facebook community page, which isn't that active yet, but you know, the more people that join us on Patreon, the more active that will get. And there's a few other rewards on there, all of which can be seen on www.patreon.com/darkhouse.
Why?
So, for the rest of the night, I'm going to go and have a nice shower. I'm going to have a bottle of Pepsi. Yes, a bottle.
Guess what I'm going to have, Harry? I'm going to have this.
Oh, I nearly got some Fanta in the cup as well.
It was £1. They had the 2 smaller bottles, and it was like 2 of the smaller bottles for £1. And I was like, well, this one, 2 small bottles for £2, but this one was £1. It was a bigger bottle. I was like, you're stupid. It's funny. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Go on.
Oh, wait. Graham has replied.
No, I'm going to end the stream before you go to do it.
No, don't.
I'm going to stop it right now. It's over. It's over, Harry. It's over.
You know, anything that changes Stormcast makes me happy, but it's been done. I prefer GW to just shift the focus off them and think about the other races and give them some time. Last thing we need is more ways to bring Stormcast into the storyline, even more by the evil, totally toxic between twins. Do the new maneuver. Do it. Vandis, go on Facebook, go into the Age of Sigmar fans page, and find Graham Donaldson and troll him. Graham spelled Graeme. More Stormcast makes your life happier. Lucy can prove it. No, Harry makes your life happier. I prove it with Lucy and Phil. Phil wouldn't be this happy without me. Look at him. Look at him entertaining himself with camera. I don't even know what that was, but okay.
There's a shotgun in the mouth. I kill myself. Alright, well, thank you for watching, guys. Please go and like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, like this video, and leave a comment. And go and check us out on Instagram as well. And if you really want to support us, go and support us on Patreon for $1 a month for advanced things. If you want to pay more on Patreon, you can decide what armies and lists we use in games as well. So look forward to that. Thank you for watching.